Corals are brainless by Amanda Vink. Brainless. Corals are a group of small animals that come in many shapes. Though some look like human brains, corals are actually brainless. Corals have a simple nervous system, which sends messages around the body very differently than in a human. Invertebrates. Corals don't have a backbone, or the column of bones that protects the spinal cord. Animals without backbones and bony skeletons are called invertebrates. Invertebrates make up about 97% of the animal kingdom. Plant versus animal. Some corals look like colorful plants or rocks. A coral sticks itself to the bottom of the ocean floor and grows upward. But corals are actually animals. Like other animals, they cannot make their own food. But unlike most other animals, corals don't have brains. Nerve net. How do corals live without a brain? A coral's simple nervous system is called a nerve net. Nerves are a type of cell that carry messages throughout the body. In humans, these messages are sent to and from the brain. A response. A coral's nerves are spread across its body. They pick up changes in light and movement around the coral. The coral responds or reacts to the messages received through its nerve net. For example, it might move toward light. Polyps. The living part of a coral is called a polyp. Polyps have soft bodies with mouths circled by tentacles. Hard coral polyps use a mineral called calcium to build structures around themselves for safety. Soft corals look like colorful plants. Coral reefs. Corals build important coral reefs. They are a place where many animals live. In fact, coral reefs are home to some of the most diverse life on Earth. They also keep coastlines from eroding or wearing away. Food. Polyps have stinging cells on their tentacles, which they use to pull tiny organisms called plankton into their mouths. Coral provides algae with a place to live, and in exchange, the algae gives coral some of the food it makes. Algae makes coral colorful. Coral smarts. Corals live in colonies. They are found in salt water and need sun to live. People have to be careful not to harm corals. They may be brainless, but they are an important part of our planet. Communities Work Together by Tana Hensley. What's local government? Have you ever participated in your local government? The federal government is responsible for the whole nation. Each state government takes responsibility for its state. Local government is in charge of a smaller community, such as a town or city. Local governments are often responsible for taking care of parks, police, buses, and streets. Voting is important. It takes a lot of work to keep a city or town running smoothly. Local governments have several leaders or officials. These may include mayors or council members. Community members elect these officials. When you are 18 years old, you can vote for your local government officials. Voting is one way of working together to build a strong community. Local leaders. What do local government officials do? They work with other officials and community members to make a difference. Mayors oversee departments and help make decisions about the community. Council members make local laws and decisions. They usually work at a city hall or a town hall. First, these officials must learn about their community's wants and needs. It's time to work together. Make your voice heard. Some community members participate in public meetings. Public meetings often take place at town hall or city hall. Community members are able to meet with their local government officials. They can talk to leaders about things that are important to them. Other people write letters or make phone calls to their officials. Some people start petitions about an issue. Get to work. Sometimes people support a certain cause. They may form or join a group that works to solve a problem. A group that's interested in bringing a community together may make a community garden. A group that's interested in after-school programs may start a sports club for kids. Each person in the group will have a certain job to help the cause. Make a difference. Local government is all about community members and government officials working together. Officials have the power to pass laws and make decisions. Community members have the power to fight for causes that are important to them. They might even form groups that work together for the same causes. You can make a difference in your community. The Life of Cleopatra, Kathleen O'Connor's. The Last Pharaoh. Cleopatra was an Egyptian queen. Her rule was the last before Egypt became part of Rome. While queen, she fought to keep control of Egypt's many lands. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC. Her father was Ptolemy VII, an Egyptian pharaoh. However, her family wasn't Egyptian. They were from a part of Greece called Macedonia, ready to rule. Cleopatra's father died in 51 BC. Cleopatra was the oldest child, but a woman couldn't rule alone. She had to rule along with her younger brother, Ptolemy VIII. Cleopatra and her brother struggled with each other for power. She asked the Roman leader Julius Caesar for help. He fell in love with Cleopatra and helped her retake the throne. Cleopatra's brother died, and she had to rule along with her other younger brother. But Cleopatra and Caesar were still in love and had a son named Caesarion in 47 BC. He became king in 44 BC when Cleopatra's brother died. Roman danger. Julius Caesar was killed in 44 BC. Two men fought to succeed him, Mark Antony and Octavian, Caesar's adopted son. Antony met Cleopatra in 42 BC. She wanted him to help keep Egypt independent from Rome. Love and war. Antony and Cleopatra worked together for many years. They also had 3 children. In 34 BC, Antony angered Octavian, who was still his rival. Antony said Caesarion should be Rome's ruler instead of Octavian. Antony gave his children Roman land, too. Octavian blamed Cleopatra. He conquered Egypt in 31 BC. Antony thought Cleopatra had been killed. He died just as news came that she was still alive. Egypt's end. Cleopatra died in 30 BC. She likely didn't want to be taken by Octavian. It's not certain how she died. Many stories say she died after letting a snake bite her. The Life of Susan B. Anthony, Kathleen Connors. Her key role. Susan B. Anthony was a strong voice in support of civil rights for all. She spent her life fighting for women's suffrage. Today, she's remembered as an important part of the cause's success. For equality early. Susan was born in 1820 in Massachusetts. Her family moved to Battenville, New York when she was a child. There, they became part of the anti-slavery movement. A group of abolitionists met at their home. Susan was teaching in the late 1840s when she began to notice women's inequality. She found out that teachers who were men were paid $10 each month, while the women were paid only $2.50. Susan thought that was unfair. An important friend. In 1851, Susan met Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Elizabeth was in favor of women's suffrage. She had helped plan the Seneca Falls Convention, a big meeting about the cause. With her new friends' support, Susan joined the movement. Spreading the message. Susan began speaking out about women's property or land rights. She also believed women should have more equality in marriage. At the time, only men could own property and make decisions for their families. Not everyone agreed with Susan about women's rights. They threw things at her during speeches and even threatened to hurt her. But Susan continued to spread the word by speaking, hanging posters, and giving out booklets. Susan and Elizabeth formed the National Women's Suffrage Association in 1869. They wanted an amendment to the U.S. Constitution giving women the right to vote. It was first presented to Congress in 1878. Voting power. In 1872, Susan took her support for women's suffrage even further. She and some other women voted for president. Susan was arrested and fined, but she refused to pay. In the following years, her beliefs remained strong. Susan died in 1906, years before the 19th Amendment passed in 1920. It gave women the right to vote. In her honor, the amendment was called the Susan B. Anthony Amendment. The life of Florence Nightingale. Kathleen Connors. Nursing many to health. Florence Nightingale is the mother of modern nursing. She dedicated her life to improving medical care all over the world. Many of her ideas are still in use today. Smart from the start. Florence was born in 1820. She was named for the city her parents were visiting at the time, Florence, Italy. During her childhood in England, her father taught her math, history, and many languages. At age 16, Florence decided to become a nurse. Her parents disapproved, though she had helped sick family members before. Still, in 1850, Florence went to Germany for nursing training. Small changes. Florence learned basic medical skills and how to run a hospital. While in charge of a hospital for women, she worked hard to improve the conditions there. Florence trained other nurses, too. Angel of Crimea. In 1854, Florence led nurses to a war front hospital. There, soldiers fighting in the Crimean War had been receiving poor medical care in dirty conditions. She brought supplies and tried to better their care. Florence dedicated herself to the soldiers and the cleanliness of the hospital wards. The men knew her as the Lady with the Lamp because she walked the wards at night, helping anyone who needed it. Big changes. Florence wrote about the poor hospital conditions during the war. In 1856, she met with the Queen of England to talk about what should be done. Florence's work caused great improvements in the British military. Florence wanted to pass on her ideas. She wrote a book about nursing that was read all over the world. Florence also founded the Nightingale Training School for Nurses in 1860. Remembered, even late in life, Florence worked to further nursing training around the world. In 1907, she was the first woman to receive the Order of Merit, an honor given for great service in the armed forces. She died in 1910. The life of Harriet Tubman. Kathleen Connors. A life of service. Harriet Tubman dedicated her life to helping others. Though born a slave, she believed all people should be free. For about 10 years, Harriet bravely led slaves to freedom. Her life continues to inspire us today. Araminta Ross was born in Maryland around 1820. She later used the name Harriet, her mother's name. As a child, Harriet was a baby's nursemaid. Later, she worked in the fields with other slaves. Thoughts of freedom. In 1844, Harriet married a free black man named John Tubman. About 5 years later, she heard her master might sell her, so she decided to escape. Harriet made it all the way to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, freeing others. In December 1850, Harriet returned to Maryland to free her sister and her sister's children. This was the first of about 19 trips Harriet took south. She freed about 300 slaves over about 10 years. Harriet used parts of the Underground Railroad to get slaves safely to the north. Others against slavery helped them through secret routes and stopping places. Harriet often took slaves as far as Canada. Harriet became a well-known conductor of the Underground Railroad. She was known for being brave and never losing or leaving a passenger behind. Harriet didn't let anyone turn back either. Wartime. Harriet supported the Union Army during the Civil War. Many people in the North wanted an end to slavery too. From 1862 to 1865, Harriet worked as a nurse, cook, and scout. Harriet was a helpful scout because she knew her way around the South. She found out where the Southern Army kept guns and supplies. This helped the Union Army plan attacks. Later life. Harriet lived out the rest of her life in Auburn, New York. She died at her home there in 1913. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush named March 10th Harriet Tubman Day. The Life of Rosa Parks. Kathleen Connors. Quiet Beginnings. When Rosa Louise Macaulay was born in 1913, no one knew she'd make a stand for civil rights. Rosa lived on her grandparents' farm in Alabama. She went to a segregated school where her mother taught. Rosa had to leave school to care for her grandmother and mother when they became ill. But after she married Raymond Parks in 1932, she was able to go back. Rosa was proud of her high school diploma. Equality for all. Rosa and Raymond believed everyone should be equal. They joined the NAACP in Montgomery, Alabama, hoping to help blacks gain their civil rights. Rosa worked as a secretary for the group, making a stand. In 1955, Rosa boarded a bus after work in Montgomery. At the time, there was a law that said a black person had to give up their seat if a white person needed it. Rosa refused. She was arrested. On the day of Rosa's trial, black leaders planned a boycott of all the city buses in Montgomery, Alabama. It was a big statement because many blacks used buses to get around. Rosa was fined, but she wouldn't pay. By 1956, her case had reached the U.S. Supreme Court. It declared Alabama's segregation laws illegal. This decision ended the bus boycott after 381 days. Forward motion. Rosa's troubles weren't over. She lost her job. Some people said they wanted to hurt her. She and her family then moved to Detroit, Michigan in 1957. None of this stopped Rosa from believing in equality. Rosa's continued support of the civil rights movement earned her great praise. In 1996, she was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Then Rosa received the Congressional Gold Medal in 1999. Her story lives on. Rosa died in 2005. Today she's often called the mother of the civil rights movement. Rosa's story teaches a very important lesson. Even small actions can have a big impact.
The Life of Abraham Lincoln by Maria Nelson. A Great Man. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States. Many people say he was the greatest president. Lincoln was a very good speaker and leader. His actions helped free African Americans from slavery. Growing up, Lincoln was born in Kentucky on February 12, 1809. His family moved to Indiana in 1816 and to Illinois in 1830. Lincoln didn't go to school, but learned to read and write. He studied law and became a lawyer. Family. Lincoln married Mary Todd in 1842. They had 4 sons. Edward and William died very young. The others were named Robert and Thomas. Leader. Lincoln was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1847. He ran for U.S. Senate in 1858. He lost, but many people thought he was a good speaker. The election of 1860. Lincoln was elected U.S. President in 1860. Before he took office, South Carolina seceded from the United States. More states followed. They were worried that Lincoln would outlaw slavery. These states formed the Confederate States of America. Civil War. Lincoln wanted to keep the United States together. He was willing to go to war to do this. The American Civil War began in 1861. Then Lincoln had to take a stand on slavery. A proclamation. On January 1, 1863, Lincoln said that all slaves living in Confederate states were free. Soon after, Lincoln gave his famous speech, the Gettysburg Address. He honored those who had died during the Civil War. Re-elected. In 1864, Lincoln was elected president again. He saw this as a chance to free all slaves. Slavery was outlawed in 1865. Lincoln then met with Confederate leaders. He wanted them to end the war and rejoin the United States. Lincoln's death. John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln on April 14, 1865. Lincoln died on April 15, 5 days after the war ended. Abraham Lincoln's leadership brought a country together. He helped end slavery. Lincoln's memory will always be honored.
The Life of George Washington by Maria Nelson. Founding Father. George Washington served as the first President of the United States. He led the colonial army during the American Revolution. He was known throughout the world as an honorable man and important leader. Early life. George was born in 1732 to a wealthy Virginia family. His father died when George was 11. George then lived part of the time with his mother and part of the time with his oldest brother at Mount Vernon. In 1752, George joined the Virginia militia. He led it during a war between France and England that began in 1754. George became well respected. In 1759, he married Martha Dandridge Custis. They lived at Mount Vernon. Revolution. By the 1760s, the colonies were unhappy with British rule. In 1774, representatives from all the colonies met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. George represented Virginia. He shared his views on many matters. The American Revolution began in 1775. George was chosen to lead the colonial army. He was strong and brave during the war. George's battle plans helped the colonists win their freedom. Making a country. George returned to Philadelphia in 1787. There he led the meeting at which the U.S. Constitution was written. It stated that the country's leader would be a president chosen by the people. The first president. George became the first U.S. president in 1789. He was so well liked that he was voted into office again in 1792. George worked to gain other countries' respect for the United States. An honorable man. George died on December 14, 1799. People all over the world honored him. Friend Henry Lee wrote that George was first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. Remembering George. Today, George Washington is remembered in many ways. Washington, D.C. and the state of Washington are named for him. The Washington Monument was built in his honor. We even celebrate George's birthday.
The Life of Paul Revere by Maria Nelson. American hero. Paul Revere was an American patriot. Like many patriots of his time, he wanted America to be free from British rule. He bravely warned a town that the British Army was coming. Life in the colonies. Paul was born on January 1, 1735. He lived in Boston, Massachusetts. During this time, Massachusetts was a British colony. Paul's father was a smith who worked with gold and silver. He taught Paul to make forks and spoons, tea sets, and other objects. Paul took over the business after his father died. In 1756, Paul fought for England in a war against France. The next year, he married Sarah Orney. She later died. Paul married Rachel Walker in 1773. He had many children. A patriot in action. In 1773, a group of angry colonists threw British tea into Boston Harbor. This was called the Boston Tea Party. Paul was there. He and other patriots were unhappy with British laws. By 1775, many colonists wanted revolution. Paul and others planned to warn them if the British army was coming. Paul would carry a message. If he failed, one light in the steeple of Christ Church meant the army was coming by land. 2 meant by sea, the midnight ride. On the night of April 18, 1775, Paul learned the British army was coming to find 2 leaders of the revolution. He wanted to warn them. Paul crossed the Charles River by boat. He then rode a horse to Lexington, Massachusetts. Because of Paul's warning, the leaders escaped, and the colonists were ready to fight. The Battle of Lexington and Concord was the first of the American Revolution. The poem. Paul died in 1818. In 1860, a writer named Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote a poem about him. It was called Paul Revere's Ride. Today, many people still read about Paul's famous ride.
The Life of Abigail Adams by Maria Nelson, Lady Adams. Abigail Adams was one of the most well-known women of her time. She wrote many letters that show people today what life was like when the United States was founded. Early life. Abigail was born in 1744. She grew up in Massachusetts. Abigail lived with her parents, brother, and 3 sisters. She was often sick and didn't go to school. Instead, Abigail learned at home. She read a lot. John Adams. Abigail married John Adams in 1764. John was a lawyer. John and Abigail wanted the colonies to be independent. In 1774, John went to Philadelphia to help write laws for the colonies. He represented Massachusetts. Abigail stayed at home. She raised their 5 children and ran their farm. Abigail and John wrote each other letters while he was gone. She wanted him to make women and men equal in the new country. Overseas. When the American Revolution ended, John went to France and Britain to represent America. Abigail continued to write letters to him. She told him how the new government was doing. Second Lady. Abigail became Second Lady in 1789. Second Lady means wife of the Vice President. John was George Washington's Vice President for 8 years. Abigail traveled between their home in Massachusetts and the nation's capital during that time. First Lady. Abigail became First Lady of the United States when John became the nation's 2nd president in 1797. The First Lady is the president's wife. John and Abigail were the first president and First Lady to live in the White House in Washington, D.C. Abigail wasn't afraid to tell John what she thought of government actions. However, some people didn't think it was the First Lady's place to talk about politics. That didn't stop Abigail. She continued to speak her mind. In memory. Abigail and John moved back to Massachusetts after he lost the election of 1800. She wrote many letters to family and friends during the rest of her life. After Abigail died in 1818, her letters became an important part of history.
Who was Helen Keller? By Carrie L. MacDonald. A Life of Learning. Helen Keller was a famous writer and speaker. She couldn't see or hear, but she loved learning. She learned to read, write, and talk. Early life. Helen was born on June 27, 1880. She was born in Alabama. Her parents were Captain Arthur Keller and Kate Adams Keller. Helen was healthy when she was born. She could see and hear. In 1882, she got very sick. She was only 19 months old. Being very sick made Helen blind. It also made her deaf. She couldn't see or hear anymore. Life was very hard for Helen while she was growing up. She had trouble understanding the world around her. A great teacher. Helen's parents wanted to bring a teacher to their house to help Helen. In 1887, Anne Sullivan came to live with Helen and her parents. Anne was a great teacher. During her first month with Helen, Anne taught her to spell words with her hands. This is called sign language, learning new things. At first, Helen didn't know what the words meant. Then, Anne helped Helen feel things while Anne spelled words. Helen loved learning new words. She learned 30 words during one day with Anne. Helen was a very smart girl. Helen learned to read, even though she couldn't see the words. She read by feeling raised dots on a page. The dots spelled words. This is called Braille. Helen learned to talk, too. She put her hands on her teacher's mouth because she couldn't hear anyone speaking. She learned by feeling. In 1889, Helen moved to a city in Massachusetts called Boston. She went there to go to school. Anne went with her. Helen loved school. She went to college in 1900. She went to a special college for women. During her time in college, Helen wrote a book. She finished writing it in 1902. It's called The Story of My Life. She wrote many other books, too. In 1904, Helen became the first blind and deaf person to finish college. After she finished school, she traveled around the world, helping others. Helen wanted to help other people who were blind and deaf, too. She raised money to help them. Best friends. Helen's best friend was her first teacher, Anne. They lived and traveled together until Anne died in 1936. A great life. Helen died on June 1st, 1968. She showed the world that deaf and blind people can do great things. Amelia Earhart, Queen of the Sky, by Mark Mallory. Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was a famous pilot. She was born in 1897. Amelia liked to see and do new things. She enjoyed watching planes do tricks. When she was in her 20s, she had her first ride in an airplane. Amelia decided she wanted to fly. She took lessons and quickly learned. Machines that fly. People have always wanted to fly. They went up in hot air balloons. People also went up in gliders. Gliders use forces of air to fly. In 1909, the Wright brothers built an airplane with an engine. Airplanes with engines could stay in the air longer than gliders. Record setter. In Amelia's time, very few women flew airplanes. She set many flying records. She flew higher than other women pilots. She also set new speed and distance records. In 1932, Amelia became the first woman pilot to fly across a continent, across an ocean. Amelia Earhart wanted to set another record. In 1932, she became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean alone. She didn't let bad weather or problems with her airplane stop her. Amelia Earhart was the queen of the sky, around the world. Amelia wanted to fly around the world. She wasn't the first to do this, but the path she planned to follow would make her flight the longest. In 1937, she began the flight. It was the last flight she would ever take. Lost. Amelia ran into many problems. Heavy rains, broken plane parts, and illness cost her time. Radio calls from Amelia's plane stopped as she was flying over the Pacific Ocean. Amelia and her plane were never seen again.
The Life of Sacagawea by Maria Nelson. Many stories. Sacagawea is famous for helping Meriwether Lewis and William Clark explore the western United States. However, many other facts about her life are uncertain. Early life. Sacagawea was born around 1788. Her father was a Shoshone Indian chief. When Sacagawea was about 12 years old, Hidatsu Indians raided her home. They took her away with them. Going west. Sacagawea married a fur trader named Toussaint Charbonneau in 1804. He was hired to interpret for explorers Lewis and Clark. They were studying the land in the American West. Sacagawea was chosen to travel with Lewis and Clark too. She could speak to the Shoshone Indians for them. A helpful guide. Sacagawea had a baby son just before leaving with the explorers in 1805. Together they were very helpful. A woman and baby showed the Native Americans they met that the explorers came in peace. Sacagawea's most important task on the journey was helping the explorers cross the Rocky Mountains. She got them horses and a guide from her brother. He was the chief of a nearby Shoshone tribe. Sacagawea knew a great deal about the land the group traveled through. She found plants that could be eaten. She also made clothing. The mystery. After traveling with Lewis and Clark, it is believed that Sacagawea had a daughter. Some people say Sacagawea died soon after that, around 1812. Others believed she returned to her tribe and lived until 1884. Remembering Sacagawea. There are many places around the United States that honor Sacagawea. Mountains are named for her. In 2000, the U.S. Mint put her picture on the dollar coin. Transportation Around the World by Eleanor O'Connell. Ready to roll? There's a fair at the park. Let's go. How would you get there? Bus, bike, car, scooter? People around the world get from place to place in some cool ways you might not have ever heard of. Camels. Some places need different kinds of transportation because of where they are. People ride camels across deserts such as those in Egypt. Desert sand is hard for cars and other vehicles to travel on. Gondolas. Venice is a city in Italy built on many islands. Bridges and canals connect parts of the city. Instead of using cars, people use boats to get from place to place. Many visitors to Venice use boats with flat bottoms called gondolas. Hydrofoils. If you're visiting islands around Greece, you'll want to take a ride on a hydrofoil. These boats use underwater metal plates to lift their hull above the water at high speeds. That makes them go even faster. Snow buses. There are special kinds of buses that can move across snow and ice. Some have skis instead of wheels. Some use tracks too. The Terrabus is a kind of snow bus used in Antarctica and Canada. Bamboo trains. The country of Cambodia in Southeast Asia has a special train. The nori, or nori, is made out of bamboo. There's only one track for noris. However, a nori can be removed from the track to let another pass. Funicular railways. Many countries, such as Austria, have steep mountains a car couldn't drive up. They sometimes have funicular railways. This railway uses a cable to pull a rail car up an incline. At the same time, another car on the cable travels down the mountain. Tuk-tuks. Some rickshaws have a small engine. They're called auto rickshaws. In Thailand, the auto rickshaw is called a tuk-tuk because older kinds had an engine that made a sound like tuk-tuk-tuk. Which form of transportation would you like to try?
Wedges. Greg Rosa, what is a wedge? A wedge is a simple machine. Some wedges are used to force things apart. Some are used to hold things together. Other wedges are used to keep things from moving. Let's see how wedges are used in our world. Inclined planes. A wedge is shaped like an inclined plane. An inclined plane is a flat surface that makes it easier to move something from one height to another. Wedges help move things too, but in a different way. Wedges are different from inclined planes. Inclined planes don't move. You move a load up and down an inclined plane to make work easier. However, you need to move a wedge to split something or to hold things together. Wedges that cut. The metal part of an axe is a wedge. When you swing an axe, the pointed end of the wedge cuts into the log. The wedge's shape forces the log apart and splits it into smaller pieces. A knife works the same way that an axe works. The sharp edge of the knife is a wedge. When you use a knife, you give it enough force to cut food into smaller pieces. Keep it together. Some wedges are used to hold two things together. A nail is a wedge. When you hit a nail with a hammer, the pointed end cuts into a board. When the nail goes through two boards, it holds them together. Pins are wedges that hold things together too. A pin can be used to hold two pieces of cloth together. A pin might be used to hold pretty jewelry on your clothes too. Stop moving. Some wedges are used to stop things from moving. A wedge can be used to keep a door open. People use wedges to keep a car from moving while they work on it. Chomp! Did you know you have wedges in your mouth? The flat teeth in the front of your mouth work like wedges when you bite into an apple. These teeth split food into smaller pieces so it's easier to swallow. Problem solving with pigs. R man harisimu. Oink! Many farms raise pigs. Did you know pigs are smart? They can help us solve math problems. A farmer has 4 pigs. She gives 2 pigs to a friend. How many pigs does the farmer have left? Many names, many colors. Pigs, swine, and hogs are all the same animal. Boy pigs are called boars. Girl pigs are called sows. A farmer has 2 boars and 10 sows. How many pigs does the farmer have in all? Pigs can be many colors. White pigs look pink. Others are black, brown, and even reddish. Some pigs have spots, too. 6 pigs are in the barn. Half of the pigs have spots. How many pigs have spots? Snouts. Pigs can't see well, but they can smell food from far away. A pig's nose is called a snout. A farmer needs 7 pigs. He has 2 pigs. How many more pigs does the farmer need? Pigs on farms eat a lot of corn. Some pigs use their snouts to dig for food. There are 5 pigs in the barn. 3 pigs take a nap. The others go outside. How many pigs go outside? Piglets. Baby pigs are called piglets. They're tiny at first. They grow fast. Adult pigs are very heavy. A sow has 6 piglets. Another sow has 3 piglets. How many piglets are there in all? Dirty but cool. Pigs roll around in mud to stay cool. However, they like to be clean. The green farm has 4 pigs. The blue farm has 5 pigs. The red farm has 2 pigs. Which farm has the most pigs? Which has the fewest? Pigs on tiptoe. Pigs have 4 toes on each of their 4 feet. Each toe ends in a hoof. The pig walks on just 2 toes of each foot. It tiptoes. How many toes does a pig have on 2 feet? How many toes are on all 4 feet? Wild pigs. There are wild pigs, too. Wild pigs have straight tails. Farm pigs have curly tails. 3 pigs are on the farm. 2 wild pigs are in the woods. How many more pigs are on the farm than in the woods?
Our Trip to the Ocean. Understand Place Value by Ivan Borowski. Going to the ocean. My family is taking a trip to the ocean. We play a game whenever we go on a trip. We count 10 objects around us and put them into a group. My dad says this is called a 10, a bundle of ones. A 10 is a group that's made of 10 single objects. There are a lot of objects to count at the ocean. That means we're going to make a lot of tens. What do I see? There are a lot of people at the ocean. They brought umbrellas. I count 10 umbrellas near the water. The 10 umbrellas make one 10. A lot of people brought beach balls to the ocean. They're very colorful. I count 10 of them. Together, the 10 beach balls make one group of 10. Swimming. I love to swim in the ocean. The water is very clear. I see fish swimming around me. I count 10 fish as they swim by. All the fish together make one 10. Next, my family and I build things in the sand. We build 10 small sandcastles and call it a city. Our group of sandcastles makes one 10. Seashells and driftwood. After I play in the sand, I look for seashells. I find 10 brown ones and 10 white ones. I put them in separate groups. That means I have 2 different 10s. Sometimes wood from the ocean washes up on the sand. This is called driftwood. I find 10 pieces near the water. The 10 pieces of driftwood make one 10. Many kinds of birds live near the ocean. I count 10 seagulls sitting on a rock. They're waiting for us to give them food. The group of seagulls makes one 10. Going home. Soon it's time to go. I help my dad pack up our towels. We brought 10 towels to the ocean. I put them in the car. All the towels together make one 10.
At the Basketball Game by Jonathan Clay. Eric's Big Game. My best friend Eric plays on the school basketball team. He's a very good player. I love to go with my friends to Eric's basketball games. We have fun watching him play. Eric is one of the 5 players who start on the court for the red team. The blue team has 5 players on the court too. Both teams have an equal number of players. This means the number of players is the same. Eric's team scores first. They have 2 points. The other team still has 0 points. Eric's team now has 2 more points than the other team. Visiting the snack stand. During the game, my friends and I get hot dogs from the snack stand. First, we get 2 hot dogs for Maria and Parker. Then we get 2 for Lucas and me. That equals 4 hot dogs. The hot dogs are tasty. My friends and I also get bottles of water to drink at the game. We start with 4 bottles, but then we drink 3 of them. I know that leaves 1 bottle of water left for us to drink. Go team! There are cheerleaders at Eric's basketball game. They do dances and cheer when his team scores. They shake pom-poms when they cheer too. The cheerleaders use red and blue pom-poms during the game. I see them holding 6 red pom-poms. I also see them using 8 blue pom-poms. When I add the 2 groups together, it equals 14 pom-poms. At halftime, Eric's team has 20 points. The other team has 20 points too. I think the 2 teams have an equal number of points. Is that true? A big win! At the end of the game, Eric's team wins. He scores 8 points to help his team win. His brother Derek scores 11 points. When you add their points together, what does it equal? I'm so happy Eric won his basketball game. I love cheering for him and his team. What sports do you like to watch with your friends?
Yolanda's Yard Sale by Malcolm Hoban. Making money. Yolanda wanted to throw a pizza party, but she had no money in her piggy bank. She could make money by selling her old toys. She decided to have a yard sale. Things to sell. Yolanda looked around her room for old toys. She found 7 toys under her bed and 8 toys in her toy box. Then she found 4 toys on her desk. Yolanda found 19 toys to sell. Yolanda used to collect teddy bears. She found 2 brown bears and 2 black bears. Then she found 3 white bears. She had 7 bears to sell. Yolanda used to collect other things too. She had 4 yo-yos and 4 baseballs. Then she found 1 doll. There were 9 things altogether. Sending invitations. Yolanda made invitations for her yard sale and took one to each house on the street. There were 8 white houses and 2 red houses. There were 7 blue houses, too. She had to make 17 invitations altogether. Yolanda also made 14 flyers to give away. She made the flyers on colorful paper. First, she gave away 4 green flyers. Then she gave away 5 pink flyers. There were 5 yellow flyers left to give away. Yolanda made lemonade for her customers. She made 12 cups and set them on her table. Her brother drank 2. Then her sister drank 1. They drank 3 altogether. Yolanda had 9 left. At the yard sale, Yolanda had 5 bears in a box. Then she sold 2 to her friend Melinda. She had 3 bears left. She wanted the box to look full, so she put 2 more bears in the box. There were 5 bears again. Yolanda's yard sale was a hit. She started out with 19 toys. By noon, she sold 9 toys. Then she sold 2 more. In all, she sold 11 toys. How many toys did she have left to sell? Time to party. Yolanda made $17 at her yard sale. Now she could have her party. A pizza costs $15. How much money did she have left over?
Making Circle Graphs by Nora D. Pie Pieces. Graphs help us compare facts. In a circle graph, the circle represents a whole set. Each piece of the circle is a part of the whole set. The parts look like pie pieces. That's why circle graphs are sometimes called pie graphs or pie charts. In this circle graph, the circle represents a whole class. One piece of the circle represents one student. Bigger pieces mean a larger part or fraction of the set. Smaller pieces mean a smaller fraction of the set. The parts of a circle graph. All circle graphs have certain parts. A circle graph's title tells you what the graph is about. Look at this graph. What is the title? In the fish tank or red goldfish? The pieces of a circle graph are often different colors. In this graph, a label tells you what each color represents. What does the color red stand for? Which flower grows in half of the garden? Some circle graphs don't have labels. They have a key instead. Look at this graph and key. What fraction of the class did homework last night? 1/4 or 1/2? Graphing with sports. Now you know a bit about circle graphs. Let's try making one. Imagine asking 6 friends their favorite sport. Their answers are in the table. How many friends like basketball best? Now let's make a circle graph. First, draw a circle on paper. Next, divide the circle into 6 equal parts, 1 for each friend. Make a key and use a different color for each sport. Your graph should look a bit like the one here. Color 2 circle pieces red for the friends who like baseball best. Color 1 piece yellow for the friend who likes soccer. Color 1 piece green for the friend who likes karate. Color 2 pieces blue for the friends who like basketball. Finally, give your circle graph a title to tell others what it's about. My friend's favorite sports is a good title. According to your circle graph, which 2 sports tied for favorite sport? Now try making your own circle graph. The School Track Meet by Alex Zander. Place value is fun. Mia is learning about place value in math class. Mia's teacher says that in a 2-digit number, the number on the left stands for tens. The number on the right stands for ones. You can use the tens and ones places to learn about numbers. They tell you which number's bigger, which one's smaller, or if the numbers are equal. Mia is going to practice this at the track meet after school. Going to the meet. On the way to the meet, Mia sees 14 cars and 11 trucks. Both numbers have 110. Mia counts the ones. The cars have 4 ones. The trucks have 1 1. There are more cars than trucks. On the team. There are 10 kids on Mia's track team. There are 10 kids on the other track team. They both have 1 10 and 0 ones. There are an equal number of kids on each team. At the meet. One event at the track meet is the hurdles. There are 20 tall hurdles and 15 short hurdles. The tall hurdles have 2 10s. The short hurdles only have 1 10. Mia knows there are more tall hurdles than short hurdles. Soon the races begin. Mia's friend Kaylee runs 1 lap in 35 seconds. Mia's friend Ryan runs 1 lap in 40 seconds. Mia knows that 3 10s is less than 4 10s. Ryan runs slower than Kaylee. It's Mia's turn to run. She runs 2 laps in 55 seconds. Her friend Emma also runs 2 laps in 55 seconds. Both times have 5 10s and 5 1s. Their times are equal. The long jump is the next event. Mia jumps 67 inches. Her friend Tara jumps 61 inches. Mia counts the ones to see which jump was longer. Her score has 7 ones, while Tara's has 1. Mia's jump was longer than Tara's. Time for prizes. When the meet is over, people get medals and ribbons. There are 13 medals. There are 20 ribbons. The medals have 1 10, while the ribbons have 2 10s. The number of medals is less than the number of ribbons. Everyone had a lot of fun at the track meet. It was fun to exercise. It was also fun to use place value to count things at the meet. Let's Measure the Weather by Sam Branson. Earth's Weather. Earth has different kinds of weather. Sometimes it's rainy. It can be sunny too. Sometimes there's wind or snow. We use tools to measure the weather. These tools can be big or small. We have tools for everything. Measuring the rain. We measure rain with a rain gauge. It's important to measure how much it rains. A rain gauge stays outside. When it rains, the rain gauge fills with water. That tells us how much it rained. We use rain gauges all over the world. They help us learn more about Earth. Some places get a lot of rain. One of these places is a rainforest. Other places are dry. A desert is very dry. Measuring the wind. It's important to measure the wind too. A special tool tells us where the wind comes from. It's called a wind vane. A wind vane tells us the wind's direction. It goes on top of tall buildings. Sometimes people put them on top of barns. The wind makes the wind vane turn. It points north, south, east, or west. Some wind vanes are very old. People have used them for a long time. They're an easy way to learn about the weather. Weather in the sky. Sometimes we have to measure weather in places we can't reach. Weather balloons help us do this. Weather balloons carry tools into the air. The tools tell us what the weather is like above the clouds. Some weather balloons carry thermometers, weather maps. Weather maps tell us about the weather. Some maps show the weather in our town. Others show the whole country. Weather maps help us know what the weather will be tomorrow. They tell us if it will be cloudy. They also show if there will be wind. Weather maps also show if it's hot or cold. They use colors and shapes to tell us about the weather. Sometimes you see weather maps on TV. You can also find them in the newspaper. Temperature. Another tool is a thermometer. Thermometers tell us the temperature. Temperature is how hot or cold something is. It's fun to study the weather. It helps us learn about our world.
Facts about tornadoes by Carrie Stewart. What is a tornado? A tornado is the most powerful kind of storm. It is a storm that touches the ground. A tornado is sometimes called a twister because it looks like a big spinning cloud. The cloud is wide at one end and narrow at the other. The spinning motion of the air is called a vortex. How do tornadoes start? Tornadoes often start if there is a bad storm with lightning, hail, and fast winds. During a storm, cooler air pushes against warmer air. This causes a strong, spinning air current. As the warm air rises, more warm air rushes in and takes its place. This movement of air causes a big black cloud to form. The air spins very fast inside the cloud. How do tornadoes act? Tornadoes can pull trees and cars up into the air. Tornadoes only stay in one place for a very short time before spinning off to a new spot. They can hop over one place and hit another. Tornadoes change direction quickly. They move between 20 and 50 miles an hour, but some tornadoes can reach 300 miles an hour. Where and when do tornadoes hit? In the United States, there are about 1,000 tornadoes each year. Many tornadoes hit the Midwestern and Southern states. Tornado season is during April, May, and June. 20 to 40 tornadoes can hit each week during tornado season. Tornadoes do weird things. Tornadoes often do strange things. A tornado once lifted a train off its tracks and sent it flying through the air. Tornadoes have lifted cows from one farm and dropped them at another. One family watched as their house was turned upside down by a tornado. Tornado safety. To stay safe during a tornado, go to your basement or a closet in the middle of the house. Keep away from windows in case the glass breaks. If you are outside, lie flat in a ditch and cover your head. These steps will help keep you safe until the tornado has passed. Why Does the Sun Set? By Violet Miller. Day to night. When you look up at the sky, the sun always looks like it's in a different place. It takes an entire day to move across the sky. The sun comes up in the morning and goes away at night. The sun may look like it moves, but it really stays in one place. It just looks like it moves because Earth rotates. When something rotates, it spins in a circle. Other things around it stay fixed. The changing sky. We move with Earth as it spins, but we can't feel it. That's because everything on Earth moves with us at the same speed. The only way we know Earth turns is because the sky is always changing. Earth spins around its axis. An axis is an imaginary line that passes through Earth from the North Pole to the South Pole. The spinning of Earth is called rotation. Earth's rotation is what gives us day and night. Sunrise. Earth rotates east. When we see the sun come up, it means we're rotating towards the sun. Not all places on Earth face east at the same time. This means day and night happen at different times around the world. The sky changes as the sun begins to rise. As it rises, the sky goes from dark to light. First, we see part of the sun on the horizon. The sun gets higher and brighter as night turns into day. Sunset. At noon, the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. It looks big and bright, but Earth keeps spinning. The sun gets lower in the sky as Earth rotates away from it. This is called a sunset. Sunsets are very beautiful. They make pretty colors in the sky. The sunset looks red, yellow, and orange. Sometimes sunsets even look pink. Even after the sun goes down, we can still see the pretty colors. Moon and stars. When the sun goes down, we can see the moon and stars. They give us light. They look like they move, too. Earth spins all night. In a few hours, the sun rises again.
Meerkats. Therese Harasamu. Meet the meerkats. Meerkats are small, furry animals. They are around 10 inches, 25 centimeters tall when they stand. Meerkats live in the grasslands, plains, and deserts of southern Africa. A meerkat is usually gray, brown, or tan. It has dark bands of color on its back. It has dark circles around its eyes, too. Its long, thin tail has a black tip. Pack animals. Meerkats live in packs. A pack may have as many as 30 meerkats. Packs sometimes fight each other. Meerkats in big packs help keep each other safe. Meerkat packs live under the ground in burrows. Each home has many entrances, tunnels, and rooms. Meerkats sleep in burrows. They also use them to hide from the sun's heat. Feeding time. Each morning, meerkats leave their burrows to look for food. Meerkats mainly eat bugs. They also eat spiders, lizards, birds, and snakes. Meerkats have large front claws that help them dig for food. Some animals like to eat meerkats. Meerkat enemies include jackals, hawks, and eagles. One meerkat in the pack watches for enemies. It stands guard on its back legs as the others dig for food. Meerkats take turns being the guard after they have eaten. If the meerkat guard sees a predator, it makes a special noise. Then the other meerkats run for cover or attack as a pack. Meerkat pups. In each pack, only a few meerkats have babies each year. Meerkat pups leave the burrows when they are 4 or 5 weeks old. Babysitter meerkats help parents care for pups. When there is danger, meerkats may cover pups with their bodies. When the pups are older, they help other meerkats. Working together helps meerkats stay alive. Fast facts. Height: about 10 inches, 25 centimeters standing up. Length: about 18 inches, 46 centimeters from head to tip of tail. Weight: about 2 pounds, 1 kilogram. Diet: bugs, spiders, lizards, birds, and snakes. Average lifespan: about 12 years in the wild. Musk oxen, Roman Patrick, hairy and smelly. What is big, hairy, smelly, and lives in the tundra? A musk ox. The musk ox is named for its special smell, called musk. Male musk oxen are called bulls. They may weigh as much as 800 pounds, 360 kilograms. Female musk oxen are called cows. They are a bit smaller. All musk oxen have large heads and short necks. 2 sharp horns dip down on either side of a musk ox's head. Bulls have long horns. Cows have shorter horns. 2 coats. A musk ox wears 2 coats in winter. Musk oxen have long dark hair as their outer coat. A short wool coat lies under it. These coats keep musk oxen warm. In spring, the tundra gets warmer. Musk oxen shed their inner coat. When winter returns, musk oxen grow their inner coat again, all together now. Musk oxen live in herds. Often one cow is the leader of the herd. The herd eats a lot of plants in the summer. The musk oxen get fat for winter. In winter, many tundra plants die or are covered with snow. Musk oxen use their hoofs to dig for moss and roots. Their fat helps them stay alive. Arctic wolves and dogs are enemies of musk oxen. If an enemy is seen, the herd protects its young. It makes a circle around them. The adult musk oxen will attack if necessary. More about musk oxen. Years ago, Earth was colder. Musk oxen lived in many places. When Earth warmed, musk oxen moved north. Today, musk oxen are protected from hunters in some areas. Fast facts. Height, up to 5 feet, 1.5 meters at the shoulder. Length, about 7 feet, 2.1 meters. Weight, bulls, up to 800 pounds, 360 kilograms. Cows, up to 600 pounds, 270 kilograms. Diet, grass, flowers, roots, moss, and other plants. Average lifespan, up to 20 years in the wild. Polar bears. Maeve T. Sisk. Big bear. Polar bears are the largest meat-eating animals on land. They live in the tundra around the Arctic Ocean. This is one of the coldest places on Earth. A polar bear has a thick body, long neck, and short tail. Its small head has little round ears. Some polar bears weigh 1,700 pounds, 770 kilograms. That is as much as 10 people. An icy tundra life. Polar bears have fat that helps keep out the cold. They have fur that looks white, but it's really clear. The sun's rays shine through the fur and warm the bear's black skin. Polar bears have fur on the bottoms of their feet. This helps their feet stay warm when they walk. They have long claws that keep them from falling on ice and rocks. Their claws also help them hunt. Polar bears eat meat. They like to hunt seals. Polar bears wait near holes in the ice. When a seal comes up for air, the bear grabs it. Polar bears are good swimmers. They use their front legs to push through the water. They catch seals under the water. Some even kill and eat small whales. Polar bears find mates in the spring. Mothers have cubs during the winter. They take care of their cubs for several years. They find them food. They protect them from other polar bears, too. Polar bear hunters. No animals hunt polar bears. However, some people do. Arctic people use polar bear fur and meat. Some countries have laws against killing polar bears. Disappearing homes. Some people are worried that polar bears may die off. The ice in parts of the Arctic tundra is melting. Without their icy homes, how will polar bears live? Fast facts. Height, about 5 feet, 1.5 meters at the shoulder. Length, up to 10 feet, 3 meters. Weight, males, up to 1,700 pounds, 770 kilograms. Females, up to 650 pounds, 300 kilograms. Diet, mostly seals, also caribou, walrus, and small whales. Average lifespan, up to 30 years in the wild.
Where does electricity come from? By Angelo Gangemi. What is electricity? Electricity is a kind of energy. Energy is power used to do work. Other kinds of energy include heat and light. We can't see electricity. However, we can see it work when we turn on our lights, TV, or computer. On the move. Electricity moves through some kinds of matter. It moves very well through metal. Copper is a metal used to make electrical wires. Electricity doesn't move through some matter, such as rubber. Electrical wires are covered with rubber for safety. Electricity and magnets. A moving magnet can create electricity in nearby wires. This works the other way too. Electricity can be used to make magnets move. Magnets are used in power plants. They turn motion into electricity. What are generators? Generators use magnets to create or generate electricity in wires. Either the magnets or the wires must be spinning. There are many ways to make them spin. One way is to burn fuels. Wind power and water power can also be used. Making electricity. Power plants have huge generators. Many power plants burn coal. The burning coal heats water to make steam. The steam spins a giant fan. The fan spins the magnets or wires inside a generator. The spinning motion creates electricity. Into our homes. Electricity leaves power plants through wires called power lines. Power lines bring electricity to homes. There, smaller wires carry electricity to our lights and outlets. When we plug something into an outlet, it gets the electricity it needs to work. What are motors? Motors change electricity into motion. In a motor, electricity flows through a wire near magnets. Together, the electricity and magnets produce motion needed to do work. Many objects in our homes have motors, such as fans, tools, and toys. Batteries. Not all electricity is made by generators. Batteries use chemicals to make electricity. A battery has two sides called terminals. When a wire is connected to both terminals, electricity flows along it. Can you name something that uses batteries? Staying safe with electricity. Electricity can harm you. Never touch an electrical cord if you can see the metal inside it. Never stick anything into an outlet other than a plug. Keep objects that use electricity away from water. Stay away from power lines that have fallen on the ground.
How do eggs hatch? By Elena Hobbs. All about eggs. Have you ever seen an egg? Eggs can be big or small. They can be many different colors. Some of them even have spots. Many baby animals grow inside eggs. Eggs hatch when the animals are born. Chickens come from eggs. Baby chickens are called chicks. It takes 3 weeks for a chick to hatch from an egg. A lot happens in that time. The chick grows and grows until it's ready to be born. Hens. Chicken eggs are shaped like ovals. They have a thin shell and can break easily. Eggs come from female chickens called hens. The hens lay their eggs in a nest made of straw. Hens take good care of their eggs. They sit on the eggs until they hatch. This keeps the eggs safe and warm. Eggs need to stay very warm for the chicks to grow. They won't hatch if they get cold. Hens also have to turn the eggs until they hatch. Hens turn the eggs with their beaks. This helps the chicks grow the right way. We can't see the chicks, but they get bigger every day. Inside the egg. Inside the shell, the egg has a yellow yolk and a white liquid. The chicks use these as food. In a few weeks, there's no more liquid inside the egg. The chicks take up all the space. We can't see the chicks, but we can hear them. They make a soft peeping sound from inside the egg. The peeping tells their mom they're ready to hatch. You can hear it too, if you listen closely. Hatching. Chicks use their necks to lift their heads to the shell. Their necks are very strong. Then they break the shell with their egg tooth. An egg tooth is a sharp point on the end of a beak. The chicks break the shell until they're all the way out. After they hatch, chicks need water, food, and warmth. They have soft yellow feathers. When they grow up, they become adult chickens.
How do seeds sprout? By Evan Rhodes. Tiny plants. Our world has many kinds of plants, such as flowers, trees, and grass. They look different, but they all start out as seeds. Inside every seed there's a tiny plant waiting to grow. All seeds come from full-grown plants. Sometimes animals and wind carry seeds to different places. We can also buy seeds from the store. We plant them in the ground or in a pot. Inside a seed. Seeds have all the parts a plant needs to grow. They have little roots and leaves. They also have a seed coat. The seed coat is like a hard shell. It keeps the plant safe from bugs, people, and the weather. Seeds have food inside them too. Baby plants use the food until they sprout. Sprouting is when something starts to grow. It happens a few days after the seeds are planted. Do you know what seeds need to sprout? Water, air, and sun. All seeds need water. Water makes the seeds soft and helps open the seed coat. Seeds need air and sun, too. They get these things even though they're covered with dirt. The dirt also gives them nutrients. Finally, seeds need warmth. That's why most plants grow in the spring and summer. After a few days, seeds begin to sprout. This happens under the ground. We can't see them yet, but we will soon. Sprouting. First, the baby plant grows roots. The roots grow deep into the dirt. They help the plant take in water and stay in the ground. Some plants have many little roots. Other plants have one long root. Next, the stem grows. It grows toward the light. In a few days, it comes above the ground. The stem helps the plant stand up and makes it short or tall. Some plants grow flowers and leaves from their stem. Baby seed, adult plant. Plants make seeds when they become adults. The new seeds sprout and make new plants. They look just like the plants they came from. It's fun watching plants grow. They make our world pretty.
Why do animals hibernate? By Michael Ulinsky. A long winter. Winter is long and cold. People stay inside to keep warm. Do you know what happens to some animals that live outside? They hibernate. Hibernating means that an animal goes to sleep for the whole winter. Animals hibernate because it's hard to find food in winter. The ground is frozen and covered in snow. If animals stayed awake, they would spend a lot of time looking for food that isn't there. Getting ready for bed. It takes a lot of work to get ready to hibernate. Some animals eat a lot of food before winter comes. Others collect food and store it to eat later. All animals need food for the long winter ahead. Animals' bodies slow down when they hibernate. They breathe very slowly. Their body temperature goes down too. If their bodies work too much, they will need to eat more food than they have. Who hibernates? All kinds of animals hibernate. Some sleep for months at a time. Others wake up every few days. Bears, chipmunks, and frogs are only a few animals that hibernate. Whether they're big or small, they all sleep for a long time. When bears hibernate, they go into a very deep sleep. They don't even wake up to eat. They eat a lot of food in the summer and fall to get fat. The fat helps their bodies work while they sleep. Chipmunks hibernate too. They sleep in burrows. Burrows are holes under the ground. Chipmunks gather food during the summer and store it in their burrows. This gives them a lot to eat during the winter. Can you imagine what it would be like to sleep in the mud? That's where frogs hibernate. The mud hides the frogs from fish and bigger animals. They stay safe there until spring. Welcome, spring! Hibernating helps animals get through the long, cold winter. The animals wake up when spring comes. They're very hungry, so they leave their homes to find food and water. Next winter, they will hibernate again. It Comes from a Farm by Grace Bassler. Why we need farms. Did you eat bread or cereal today? The food you ate today probably came from farm crops. Farms grow many things we need. You know that some farms grow vegetables and others raise animals to eat. You might be surprised by many other things we get from farms. Fruit and nut farms. Farms that grow fruits and nuts are called orchards. Some orchards in the United States grow apple, cherry, orange, and peach trees. We eat fruit and bake with fruit. We make juices from fruit too. Walnuts, pecans, and almonds also grow on trees. These nuts are grown for food and to make oils too. Dairy farms. Farms that raise cows for milk are called dairy farms. Dairy farmers often grow plants for their cows to eat too. Years ago, farmers had to milk cows by hand. Now they use machines. Milk can be used to make other dairy products, such as butter, cheese, and ice cream. Sheep farms. Many farmers raise animals for their fur and meat. Sheep grow thick fur called wool. Once or twice a year, farmers cut the wool off the sheep. There are different kinds of sheep's wool. Soft wool is used for clothing, such as sweaters. Other kinds of wool are used to make rugs and cloth. Fish farms. Have you heard of fish farms? These farms raise many kinds of fish for people to eat. Some fish may live in huge water tanks. Some fish may live in ponds or cages in the water. These fish are caught more easily than wild fish. Fish farms also help by raising some kinds of fish that are in danger of dying out. From the farm to you. A farm product often goes through several steps before it gets to you. For example, many things happen to milk before it becomes ice cream. Sometimes there is only one step. Some farms let you pick your own fruit. How would your life be different without farm products?
It's a Blizzard by Michelle Coffey. So much snow. A blizzard is a powerful snowstorm with strong winds. Blizzard winds can blow 35 miles per hour or faster. The blowing snow makes it hard for people to see. When you can't see because of blowing snow, it is called a whiteout. During a blizzard, strong winds blow snow into deep drifts. Where do blizzards strike? In the United States, most blizzards happen in the northern states and the Great Plains states. The weather is colder in these areas. Whiteouts make it unsafe to drive cars. Large cities can seem almost empty when a blizzard strikes. How snow forms. Before a blizzard begins, snow has to form. Snow is a type of frozen water. Snow forms when water vapor freezes onto tiny particles of dust or smoke that are in the air. The particles give the water a place to gather and form a crystal. Snowflakes grow when several crystals stick together. How blizzards start. When cold air moves over warm land, it causes the warm air over the land to rise. The place where the cold air and the rising warm air meet is called a cold front. At this point, the air is cold enough to turn the water vapor into snow. A blizzard begins when a strong wind blows the snow. Blizzard dangers. When cold weather and strong winds mix, the air feels colder than it really is. This is called wind chill. When the wind chill is very low, you could get frostbite from being outside for too long. Very cold weather and wind chills can harm your skin if you're not wearing warm clothing. Blizzard safety. If a blizzard is coming, make sure you have plenty of food and water at your house. Once a blizzard starts, you may not be able to leave your house for many days. If you go outside, be sure to wear very warm clothing. Blizzards can be pretty to look at, but it is safer to watch them from inside your warm house.
Kangaroos in the Land Down Under by Shelby Bradick. The Land Down Under. Australia is the 6th largest country in the world. It is the only country that is also a continent. Most of Australia is hot and dry. Few people live far inland, away from the oceans. Australia is called the Land Down Under because it is the only continent completely below the equator. Kangaroos. Kangaroos are furry animals that live in Australia. Kangaroos have long back legs and feet. Some kangaroos can hop faster than 30 miles an hour and can jump 25 feet or more. Kangaroos guard themselves from enemies and other kangaroos by kicking with their back legs. Kangaroos use their short front legs to walk and to hold things. Two types of kangaroos. There are two common types of kangaroos. Gray kangaroos live in the forests and grasslands of southern and eastern Australia. Red kangaroos are often larger than gray kangaroos. They live in the hot deserts and grasslands in the middle of Australia. Male red kangaroos can grow to be 6 feet tall and weigh up to 200 pounds. Kangaroo families. Kangaroos live in groups called mobs. Mobs often have around 12 kangaroos, but may have more. For each male kangaroo, or boomer, there are about 5 females, or flyers. Young kangaroos are called joeys. Joeys spend their days playing, sleeping, and eating. Baby kangaroos. Mother kangaroos give birth to babies that have not finished developing. Newborn joeys are about the size of a jelly bean. Joeys finish developing in a pouch on their mother's belly. When the joey is about 6 to 8 months old, it leaves its mother's pouch and moves around by itself. Kangaroos and people. In recent years, there have been too many kangaroos in Australia. The government lets some farmers hunt large kangaroos that destroy crops. Some farmers are allowed to hunt a few kangaroos for food and for their skins, which are made into leather. Kangaroos are very special animals in Australia, so they are hunted only when necessary.
A Butterfly's Life Cycle by George Pendergast. The monarch. Butterflies live interesting lives. They go through many changes as they get older. This is called a life cycle. Monarch butterflies have one of the most interesting life cycles of any butterfly. Let's learn more about it. A butterfly starts its life as an egg. Butterflies lay eggs on plant leaves, plant stems, or other objects. If you look closely at an egg, you can see a caterpillar growing inside. Crawling caterpillars. The eggs grow for about 4 days. When they hatch, caterpillars come out. Caterpillars are butterfly larvae. They eat all the time. They start eating the leaves they hatch on. That's why eggs are laid there. Caterpillars don't stay caterpillars for very long. They eat as much as they can for about 2 weeks. Monarch caterpillars eat a plant called milkweed. They molt or shed their skin 4 or more times as they grow bigger. Inside the chrysalis. The caterpillar then sticks itself to a stem or leaf and wraps itself in silk it makes. The caterpillar is now a pupa. It stays inside this shell, called a chrysalis, for about 10 days. Not much happens on the outside during the pupa stage, but the caterpillar is changing inside the chrysalis. The caterpillar is growing into a butterfly. It's growing wings and other organs. This big change is called a metamorphosis. All grown up. When the butterfly is fully formed, it breaks out of the chrysalis. Its wings are soft and folded at first, but after a few hours the butterfly can fly. Most monarch butterflies live about 2 to 6 weeks. These butterflies lay eggs in the spring and summer. Butterflies that hatch late in the summer live longer. They live 6 to 8 months. They need to hibernate to live through the winter. Big travels. Monarch butterflies that come out of their chrysalis in late summer migrate south to places like Mexico and California. Many travel up to 2,500 miles, 4,023 kilometers. In spring, they come out of hibernation, fly north, and lay eggs again. This keeps the butterfly's life cycle going. Flowers from Seed to Bloom by George Pendergast. Growing flowers. The life of a plant always follows the same stages. From seed to flower, plant life has a pattern. This is called a life cycle. Let's learn more about the life cycle of a flowering plant, starting with seeds. Most plants come from seeds. These seeds may be very, very small, but they can grow into huge plants. The seeds have a shell or seed coat around them to keep everything safe inside. Different plants have different kinds of seeds. They also need different things to grow. Most seeds need to be in soil to grow. Most need sunlight and warmth. Seeds need water to grow and start making flowers. Swelling seeds. The seed coat takes in the water, and the seed starts to swell or grow bigger. When it has enough water, it breaks open. Plant parts start to come out of the shell. Roots start to grow down into the soil. The roots take in water and nutrients to help the plant grow. The plant pushes up through the soil and above ground. The plant uses light from the sun to make food. This is called photosynthesis. Flower power. When the plant grows big enough, it makes a flower. Part of the plant grows a bud. Then the bud opens its flower up wide. The flower is in bloom. The flower helps make new flowering plants. Some flowers have many different parts. Other flowers only have certain parts needed to reproduce. They need help to make new flowers. Many flowers are bright and bring animals close. The animals help the flowers reproduce. Birds and bees. Birds and bees carry pollen from some flowers to others. This is called pollination. When the flowers are pollinated, they make seeds. Some plants make fruit. This fruit has seeds inside. Starting over. Now the seeds have to be spread to grow new plants. Some seeds are blown by the wind. Animals move other seeds to new places too. When the seeds reach the soil, the cycle of seed to bloom starts all over again.
Your Bones by Cyril Bassington. Beautiful bones. You're lucky to have bones. Without them, you couldn't stand or move. You would be a pile of skin and body parts. Yuck! The group of bones that make up the human body is called the skeletal system. Did you know babies have about 300 bones when they're born? The bones grow bigger and longer each year. Some grow together. Your bones will be fully grown when you're about 25 years old. Adults have 206 bones. In the bones. Bones have many layers. In the middle of many bones is a thick matter called bone marrow. Bone marrow makes blood cells. The body needs blood cells for many reasons, including fighting illnesses and carrying oxygen. Meet your bones. Bones are hard, but light. They give your body shape. Bones are strong enough to keep your soft organs safe. Your heart and lungs are found behind the set of bones called the rib cage. It takes many bones working together to make up some parts of your body. The bones of your head are called the skull. The cranium is the part of the skull that protects or guards your brain. Your spine is in the center of your back. You can feel its bumps on the back of your neck. Your spine holds you up, but it lets you twist and bend down too. 26 bones make up the spine. Your arm is made up of 3 bones. The humerus is above your elbow. The radius and ulna are below the elbow. Your wrists, hands, and fingers are made up of 54 bones in all. The femur is the bone that goes from your hip to your knee. The femurs are the longest of your body's bones. The 2 bones that make up each lower leg are the tibia and the fibula, helping your bones. You can do things to keep your bones healthy. To keep your skull safe, wear a helmet when you're on a bike or playing sports, such as football. Exercise and drink milk to keep your bones strong. Be good to your bones. Our Water Experiment by Ethan Danielson. Experiments. My friends and I like to play with water. We do a lot of fun things with it. We like to swim. We like to play with water balloons. We also like to do experiments. An experiment is when you test or try something out. It helps you find out new things. It's fun to experiment with water. Liquid. Water starts off as a liquid. A liquid is something that flows. You need a glass or other object to hold a liquid. Freezing water. In our first experiment, we made the water really cold. This is called freezing. When we freeze water, we make ice. We froze water into small blocks called ice cubes. An ice cube is a solid. The water took a long time to freeze. Our ice was hard. We held some in our hands. It made our hands feel cold. We use ice for a lot of things. Ice keeps our food cold. This lets us store food for a long time. Ice keeps our drinks cold, too. We also see ice outside. Snow is made of very little pieces of ice. The snow makes everything feel cold. Melting. Then we tried another experiment. We turned the ice back into water. This is called melting. Have you seen ice melt? Melting happens when you make ice warm. We put the ice under a warm light. It melted into water. It made a puddle on the table. The ice outside melts in the spring. It makes the ground wet. This gives Earth water to help our plants grow. Steam. Next, we made the water really hot. Can you guess what happened? The water turned into steam. Steam doesn't look like water, but it is. It rises into the air because it's a gas. You can't hold it in your hands. Steam makes the air feel hot. Steam comes from a lot of different places. Taking a hot shower makes a lot of steam. We tried one more experiment. We made the steam cool down. It turned back into water. We saw drops of water on the lid of the pot. The water wasn't hot anymore. We learned a lot through our experiments. What experiments do you like to do? A Year of Seasons by George Pendergast. Follow the pattern. Our weather follows a pattern. It gets warmer in certain months and colder in others. Each year follows the same pattern. The cycle of seasons shows why this happens. A season is a period of time when a certain kind of weather happens. In many places on Earth, there are 4 very different seasons. They are spring, summer, fall, and winter. Changing weather. Many different things affect the weather. Where you are on Earth affects how warm or cold it is. It can also affect how many seasons a place has. Different places have different climates. The weather is hottest near the equator. The Earth is a bit wider at the equator, so this land is closer to the sun. Because it gets more direct rays from the sun, it is hotter there. How direct your sunlight is determines much of your weather. On an axis. Earth doesn't just sit still in space. It rotates or spins on its axis, which leans a bit. The part of Earth that faces the sun has day, while the side facing away has night. A year. Earth revolves around the sun while spinning on its axis. It makes one complete revolution about every 365 days. This trip around the sun gives us our year. It also gives us our seasons. Places near the poles are always cold, while places near the equator are always warm. Many parts in between see all 4 seasons. Which season happens where depends on which hemisphere you are in. The northern and southern hemispheres have opposite seasons. It's summer when a hemisphere is pointed toward the sun. Winter happens when Earth is on the opposite side of the sun, and the hemisphere is facing the other way. When the northern hemisphere has summer, the southern hemisphere has winter. The seasons change. Spring happens between the end of winter and the beginning of summer. The weather changes from cold to warm in spring before it gets hot for the summer. Fall happens between the end of summer and just before winter. The weather changes from warm to cold in fall. A Murder of Crows by Greg Rosa. Cool bird? Creepy name. Crows are blackbirds that live almost everywhere in the world. A group of crows is called a murder. This is because they have long been linked with death and other bad things. However, most old stories about crows are untrue. That's a lot of crows. Like other birds, crows often gather together in trees to sleep. This is called roosting. A roosting murder of crows might have 100 birds. Then again, a murder might have hundreds of thousands of crows. Let's get together. Crows form murders for several reasons. They roost together to stay safe from enemies, such as owls. They sometimes search for food together. Most crows stay near their homes all year. However, crows that migrate often travel in large groups. All in the family. Crows often stay with the same mate for life. Most females lay about 5 eggs once a year. Parents take good care of their babies. They'll even chase away animals and people who come too close to the nest. Young crows may stay with their parents for up to 7 years. They help build nests, raise baby crows, and guard family feeding sites. In time, crows leave their family to start a family of their own. Crow communication. Crows make noises called caws. They communicate using different caws. Caws can be loud, soft, long, or short. Some crows can even copy the sounds of other animals, including people. Crows use these sounds to say a lot. Bird brains. Scientists have discovered that crows are really smart. They learn from each other by communicating. If a crow gets into trouble, it will tell other crows, so they don't make the same mistake. Crows never forget a face. If a person tries to hurt a crow, the bird will remember their face. It tells other crows too. If that person comes back, the crows caw to warn each other. Parent crows even teach their young about people who are unsafe. Playful crows. Crows are playful. Adults sometimes do tricks while flying. Young crows in a murder sometimes play tug of war with sticks, stones, and cans. Some crows have even been known to steal things from people, such as keys.
Foxes in the Dark by Adeline Zubak. A quick look. If you look quickly at a fox, you might think it's a small dog. Foxes are in the same family as dogs, so they look much alike. But look again. A fox has a long, bushy tail. It also has a pointy snout and large ears. Not picky eaters. Foxes live almost everywhere because they eat almost everything. They hunt small animals, such as mice, birds, worms, and bugs. They eat plants, too. Sometimes they even eat dead animals. In towns and cities, they eat pet food and people's trash. Foxy hunters. People use the word foxy to mean clever and tricky. Foxes are foxy when they're looking for a meal. They mostly hunt at night. They have excellent senses of hearing and smell. These help them find food in the dark. A fox can hear a mouse squeak from more than 100 feet, 30 meters away. A fox may stand on its back feet to see better. It often can't see its prey unless the animal is moving. Sometimes a fox waits by an animal's burrow. When its prey comes out, the fox jumps on it. The fox may dig a hole for its leftovers. It covers the hole with dirt. The fox comes back when it's hungry again. Smelly and alone. Most foxes like to be alone or with just one other fox. Each fox has a special smell it spreads across its land. When other foxes smell it, they know to stay away. Foxes also talk to each other by barking and growling. Gray foxes. The gray fox has grayish fur on its back. It has reddish, white, and black fur on other parts of its body. It's sometimes called a tree fox. It's the only fox that can climb trees. It climbs to escape enemies. Arctic foxes. Arctic foxes have white fur that blends in with the winter snow. In spring, Arctic foxes shed their white fur and grow gray fur. Both colors help them hide from prey and enemies. Arctic foxes use their thick tail, called a brush, like a blanket. Red foxes. The red fox is the most common fox in the United States and Canada. Some red foxes have silver or black fur instead of red. Red foxes are good jumpers. Some can jump 7 feet, 2 meters high.
Tarsiers in the Dark by Thomas Van Eck. Big eyes, big ears. Imagine walking through the dark, wet forests of Southeast Asia. Suddenly, you see an animal that looks a bit like a monkey. with very large eyes. It's a tarsier. Tarsiers are primates, just like monkeys, apes, and humans. A tarsier has a flat face and round head. Its eyes are very large for its little body. It can't move its eyes. It has to turn its head. However, tarsiers can turn their head almost all the way around. Tarsiers' large eyes help them see well, even in the dark. They have large ears, too. They can hear very well. Tarsiers can open and close their ears. Tarsiers' ears are always moving, except when these animals are sleeping. On the move. When tarsiers want to move, they leap from tree to tree. Their strong back legs push them forward. They can jump as far as 20 feet, 6 meters. When tarsiers are on the ground, they hop on their back legs. Tarsiers have pads on their fingers and toes that help them hold on to tree branches. Their long, thin tail has hair at the end of it. They use their tail almost like another arm or leg. Midnight snacks. Tarsiers are nocturnal. They sleep in trees during the day. At night, they look for food. Their large eyes and ears help them. Tarsiers mostly eat bugs. They eat spiders, lizards, and birds, too. Baby tarsiers. Tarsier mothers usually have one baby at a time. The baby is born with fur, and its eyes are open. Tarsier babies start leaping when they're only a month old. They can catch their own food after 2 months. Where are the tarsiers? Tarsiers once lived many places around the world. Today, tarsiers are endangered. They only live in a few places in Southeast Asia. People have hunted tarsiers for food and cut down their forest homes. There aren't many tarsiers left today. Some people have tried to make them pets. Tarsiers hate to be in cages. They may even hurt themselves trying to get out. People need to protect these animals in their wild homes.
Why We Need Hospitals by Derek Lucas. An important place. A hospital is an important place in a community. People go there when they're sick or hurt. Our city has a big hospital. Many people work at our hospital. My throat hurts. I go to the hospital when my throat hurts. I need a special doctor to look at my throat. Dr. Lauren helps people with sore throats. She gives me medicine to take. It will make my throat feel better. John's broken arm. John goes to the hospital because he hurt his arm. He hurt it when he was playing at the playground. Mrs. Amber uses a machine to take a picture of John's arm. The picture is called an X-ray. The X-ray shows the bones in John's arm. The X-ray shows that John has a broken arm. He needs a special doctor to fix his arm. Dr. Richard works at the hospital. He puts a cast on John's arm. It will be better soon. Jordan's baby sister. Babies are born at a hospital. My friend Jordan goes to the hospital to see her new baby sister, Emma. A nurse helps care for Emma and Jordan's mom. Her name is Nurse Sarah. Doctors help moms and new babies, too. Dr. Michael makes sure Jordan's mom and Emma are healthy. Emma stays in a special part of the hospital. It's called the nursery. This is where new babies sleep. Helping people. People who are very sick stay at the hospital. Nurses watch them and help them get well. Doctors and nurses work together in a hospital. They work to help sick people feel better. Our hospital has many floors where doctors and nurses work. Some of them work through the night. Some hospitals are only for children. Sick children go to these hospitals to get better. I want to work at a hospital when I grow up. I want to be a doctor and help sick children. In your city, we need hospitals to help us get healthy and stay healthy. Do you have a hospital in your city or town? Python by Daisy Allen. Big snakes. Pythons are large, strong snakes. There are 28 kinds of pythons in the world. They live in hot areas in Asia, Africa, and Australia. Pythons are good swimmers. They can also climb trees. Pythons kill by squeezing their prey. The longest snake. The reticulated python is the longest snake in the world. It can be more than 30 feet, 9.1 meters long, and weigh 350 pounds, 159 kilograms. The reticulated python gets its name from the patterns on its skin. Something that is reticulated has crisscrossed lines. Python babies. Female reticulated pythons lay eggs. A large reticulated python may lay up to 100 eggs at one time. After the female lays the eggs, she coils around them to keep them warm. Baby snakes break out of the eggs in about 85 days. Once the baby reticulated pythons break out of their eggs, the mother leaves them. Each snake is about 30 inches, 76 centimeters long. Their colors help them hide from enemies such as hawks and cobras. Baby reticulated pythons eat mice, rats, lizards, and frogs. Made for hunting. Pythons are good hunters. They can see and smell very well. They use their tongues to smell. Pythons also have special parts on their faces called pits. Pits help pythons feel the heat of passing prey. The prey a python hunts depends on the python's size. Smaller pythons eat small animals, such as frogs and lizards. Reticulated pythons eat birds and rats. However, sometimes they eat larger animals, such as pigs and deer. Python teeth. Just like most snakes, pythons have two sharp teeth called fangs. However, pythons don't use their teeth to kill. Python teeth are hooked. The shape of a python's teeth helps the snake hold on to its prey. Sneaky snake. A python often hides and waits for prey to go by. The python bites the prey and holds on. It quickly wraps its long body around the animal. Then it squeezes so hard the animal can't breathe. After the animal has died, the python swallows it in one gulp. Pythons and people. Pythons don't often attack people. In some places, pythons are used to kill pests, such as rats. Some people like to keep pythons as pets. Other people like to wear belts, boots, and coats made of python skin. What Happens When I Sweat? By Lincoln James. Getting sweaty? When you play a sport or ride your bike, you sweat. You might even sweat on a hot day without doing anything at all. Sweating might seem gross, but it's important. It's our body's way of cooling off. Body temperature. Your body likes to stay the same temperature all the time, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Celsius. When you're active or the day is hot, your body temperature can rise. This can also happen when you're sick. When your body temperature rises, you may start to sweat. How we sweat. When your body gets too hot, it sends messages to your brain. The brain sends messages to special organs called sweat glands. A gland is an organ that makes something the body needs to work properly. Sweat glands make sweat. Our sweat is made almost entirely of water. It also contains very small amounts of salt, sugar, and other chemicals. Sweat exits the skin through tiny holes called pores. Once sweat is outside the body, it's sometimes called perspiration. Why do we sweat? Our body temperature rises when we're active. This can also happen on a hot day. Air makes sweat on your skin evaporate, which helps cool you off. This keeps your body temperature from getting too high, which can be dangerous. Sometimes you may sweat when you're nervous or scared. During these times, glands in your body work harder to make chemicals that help you deal with these feelings. Some of these chemicals affect the sweat glands and make you sweat. You may also sweat when you're sick or have a fever. However, sweating too much every day can mean something is wrong. Listen to your body. If you commonly sweat for no reason, you should go see a doctor. I stink. Most people know that sweat can make you stink. However, sweat itself has no smell at all. The bad smell comes from tiny creatures that live on our skin called bacteria. The bacteria feed on sweat and change it into chemicals that stink. Replace your water. It's important to drink a lot of water when you're playing a sport because your body loses water when you sweat. If your body runs low on water, you may feel tired and achy. If you don't replace your body's water, you can even get very sick.
Your Muscles by George Fiddleworth. Marvelous muscles. Your body has over 600 muscles. You couldn't move without them. Your heart couldn't beat. You couldn't even think. Your brain is made of muscles too. Without your muscles, many of your body parts wouldn't work. 3 kinds. Muscles are made up of fibers that can stretch. The bigger the muscle, the more fibers it's made of. The human body has 3 kinds of muscles. They're called skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. Skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are the muscles you can feel just below your skin. They're connected to your skeleton. They work in pairs. One muscle moves a body part in one direction, and the other muscle moves it in the other direction. Skeletal muscles are the muscles you can control. They're called voluntary muscles. When you want to move, your brain sends a message to the muscle along a motor nerve. Then, the nerve creates energy that moves the muscle. Muscles move the body by contracting and relaxing. Contracting means becoming shorter. The muscle fibers slide together to make a fatter shape. Relaxing means the fibers slide apart. The muscle gets longer and thinner. Smooth muscles. Smooth muscles help you breathe. They move food through your digestive system. They're found in blood vessels, too. Smooth muscles are involuntary muscles. That means you can't control them. However, they're always at work. Cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are found in the heart. The muscles of the heart contract to send blood out to your body parts. They relax to let blood into the heart after it has traveled throughout the body. Cardiac muscles are involuntary, too. Ouch! Have you ever had a muscle cramp? That means a muscle has contracted and won't relax. Have you ever had a muscle strain? That's when you stretch a muscle so far that you tear fibers. You must rest so the muscle can mend. Keep moving. Eating healthy foods supplies your muscles with energy. You can keep your muscles working well by exercising every day, too. Different activities exercise different muscles. So keep active in lots of fun ways. Move your muscles.
The Flower Pot by Finn Flaherty. Lore and Matt were different in some ways. They lived in different places. They were the same in some ways, too. They both liked growing flowers. Matt gave Lore seeds. "Thanks, Matt," said Lore. "I like growing flowers." "You will like this flower," said Matt. Lore put dirt into a flower pot. He put a seed into the dirt. He put some water into the dirt. Lore looked at the pot every day. At first he did not see a plant. He waited for the plant to grow. Soon Lore saw something green. The plant grew and grew. Soon there was a yellow flower. "What a strange flower," said Lore. "I will show Matt." Lore went to see Matt. "You gave me a strange flower," said Lore. "We have many flowers like that here," said Matt. "Our flowers are different," said Lore. "Here are seeds from my home," said Lore. "Here is a flower pot." "Thanks, Lore," said Matt. Matt put dirt into the flower pot. He put a seed into the dirt. He put some water into the dirt. He waited and waited. Matt saw something in the dirt. It was not green. It was purple and pink. "What will this be?" asked Matt. The plant grew and grew. It was curly. It had spots. "What a strange plant," said Matt. Soon the plant was very tall. A flower opened. "Hello," said the flower. "Flowers cannot talk," said Matt. "I can," said the flower. "May I have some water?" asked the flower. "Yes," said Matt. He gave the flower some water. "Thank you," said the flower. "This is a very strange flower," said Matt. Matt went to see Lore. "You gave me a strange flower," Matt said. "Hi," said the flower. "The flower seems nice to me," said Lore. "This flower can talk," said Matt. "Do flowers talk where you live?" "Only flowers in flower pots talk," said Lore. "They tell you what they need." "I need more water," said the flower. "Thanks, Lore," said Matt. "I'm glad you like it," said Lore. "Goodbye, Lore," said Matt. "Goodbye," said the flower. "Goodbye," said Lore. How Do I Get There? By Josh Goodwin. A Walk to the Park. Today I'm going to the park. I'm walking to the park with my mom and dad. How do we get to the park? We use a map to show us which way to go. It's a long walk. Main Street. We walk to the end of Maple Street. Then we make a right turn. We turn onto Main Street. We walk on Main Street for a long time. We see lots of stores. It's a busy street. What stores do we see on Main Street? We see a toy store and a shoe store. We see a bookstore too. My mom and dad want to buy food to take with us. We go to the grocery store to buy food. The grocery store is on Main Street too. What do we buy at the grocery store? We buy apples. We'll eat them at the park. Forest Street. What's the next street that we see? We see Forest Street. There are lots of trees on Forest Street. Which way should we turn on Forest Street? We should turn left. Who lives on Forest Street? My friend Jacob lives on Forest Street. He lives with his grandma. Where is Jacob's house? His house is on the right side of the street. He lives in a white house. Who lives across the street from Jacob? My cousin Molly lives across the street from Jacob. Lake Street. What street should we go on after Forest Street? We should go on Lake Street. We make a right turn onto Lake Street. There are many fun places to visit on Lake Street. We see the candy store and the baseball field. At the park. What else is on Lake Street? The park is on Lake Street. It's at the end of the street. The park is big. I love to play there with my friends. We play on the playground. An adventure. I had fun on my walk to the park. It was an adventure. What places do you like to visit? How do you get there? Punctuation at the Game by Kathleen Connors. Play ball. Do you like to play sports or watch them on TV? Let's learn about some different kinds with the help of some punctuation marks. Punctuation is the name for the group of marks that make sentences easier to read. Great game. Baseball is called America's pastime. People of all ages like to play. What's the dot at the end of the sentence? That's a period. Periods show the end of the kind of sentence called a statement. Statements often report facts. Using periods. Baseball games have 9 innings. Other sports games are broken into halves or quarters. These sentences state facts. A period is used to show when each sentence ends. Exclamation points. It's so much fun to win a game. It's even better when you've made the winning play. An exclamation point is another punctuation mark that's used to end a sentence. It's used to show strong feelings, such as anger or excitement. Get excited. Goal! Your team might call this out when you score a point in soccer or hockey. They're happy for you. An exclamation point can show when something is shouted out or exclaimed. Just ask. What's the score? Check the scoreboard. It's important to know whether your team is winning or losing. Question marks go at the end of a sentence that asks a question. So many sports. There are so many sports to choose from. What's your favorite? Do you like bowling, swimming, or gymnastics? These sentences end with a question mark to show their questions. Speed up with colons. Scoreboards show time left in a game or how fast a runner is. If there are 5 minutes and 25 seconds left, the scoreboard will read 05:25. Colons are punctuation marks used to show time. They also come before lists and explanations. Cool commas. Playing football is a lot of fun. To score points, you have to catch, throw, and run with your team. Commas are another common punctuation mark. Use a comma to show separation between words or groups of words in a sentence or list.
Rhyming on the Road by Kathleen Connors. Let's go. Hurry up. We have places to go. We're hopping in the car and driving somewhere far away. Say car and far out loud. Do they sound the same? That's because car and far rhyme. What is rhyme? Words that rhyme have matching sounds. That means the last part of one word sounds like the last part of another word. Drivers know to go slow when the road is wet. Go and slow have the same long O sound. They rhyme. Show me the money. We're on our way. Did you bring a few dollars? Sometimes cars and trucks have to pay a toll when they use a road. Way and pay have a matching long A sound. They're rhyming words. Finding the way. Use a map to find your way on the road. It shows you how far apart places are and what roads to take. If it's a long trip, you might take a nap. Say map and nap out loud. They rhyme. Break time. Have you ever been in a car all day? It's so nice when you get out to stretch your legs. It's even better if you get to run and play for a little while. Day and play have a matching sound. They rhyme. Food on the go. Many families pack lunch when they take car trips. It might include sandwiches, a bunch of grapes, or other snacks. Lunch and bunch share sounds and are spelled alike. Many rhyming words have spellings that are close to one another. Pack up. Time to get back on the road. Load up the picnic supplies and toys. We don't want to leave anything behind. Do road and load rhyme? Say them out loud. They do. Are we there yet? A car game can help pass the time while traveling. Name all the different license plates you see. Game and name rhyme. We're here. Some car rides are short. Your mom might drive you down the street to meet a friend. Do meet and street rhyme? Say them out loud to make sure.
I'm Allergic to Peanuts by Maria Nelson. Peanut trouble. A peanut allergy is one of the most common food allergies. The body reacts to peanut proteins. It fights them as it would other harmful matter like germs. Allergic reactions to peanuts happen just minutes after someone eats food that has peanuts in it or that peanuts have touched. Breathing in products such as peanut flour may also cause a reaction. What's a reaction like? People with peanut allergies have to be careful. Eating peanuts can cause hives, breathing problems, and itchy eyes and throat. Some people might feel sick or throw up. A very bad allergic reaction is called anaphylaxis. It can include breathing problems, dizziness, and worse. Peanut allergies cause anaphylaxis more than any other food allergy. Take the test. If you've had an allergic reaction, you can be tested for a peanut allergy. In a skin prick test, a tiny amount of peanut is allowed under your skin. If a reaction occurs there, you've got a peanut allergy. No cure. Allergic reactions can be treated by a shot of a drug called epinephrine. But right now, there's no way to cure peanut allergies. About 20% of children with peanut allergies outgrow them, though. Peanut-free. The best way to deal with a peanut allergy is to stay away from peanuts. You have to read food labels. Many products may come into contact with peanuts when they're made. If so, their package must say that. Those with peanut allergies can't eat peanut butter or peanuts. Peanuts can be found in many common food items. Cereals, cookies, ice cream, and bread are just some of the foods that could have peanuts in them. Tree nuts. Almonds, walnuts, pecans, and other nuts are tree nuts. Peanuts aren't tree nuts, but many people who are allergic to peanuts also have reactions to tree nuts. It's best for those who are allergic to stay away from them all. I Am Polite by Maria Nelson. Polite people. Practicing good manners is important. Being polite is part of having good manners. Someone who is polite treats others with respect. They think about the feelings of others before speaking or acting. With family. Tiffany really liked the dinner her mom made. When she wanted another helping, she made sure to say please. Tiffany knew that saying please when asking for something is polite. Grandma gave Kyle a sweater when she came to visit. After opening the gift, Kyle smiled and said thank you. Saying thank you was polite. Kyle showed gratitude for the nice present. At school, Kiko's teacher asked the class a question. Kiko knew the answer. She didn't shout it out, though. Kiko raised her hand. Kiko was polite. She was considerate of her classmates who also might want a chance to answer. Jorge needed help, but his teacher was talking to another student. Jorge waited until they were done talking before walking up to his teacher. He didn't interrupt. Jorge was polite. Around town. Cecil and his sister were walking into the library for story hour. A woman behind them was carrying a big box of books. Cecil held the door open until she was inside. He was polite. The store was crowded. Jasmine got stuck behind a big group when looking for the apples. To let the people know she wanted to pass them, she said, "Excuse me." Jasmine was polite because she didn't push through the crowd. When riding the bus, Armand saw an older lady looking for a seat. There weren't any left. Armand told her she could have his seat. Armand showed kindness and respect for the lady. He was polite. Table time. Gemma's favorite food is ice cream. Sometimes her family serves it as a treat after dinner. Gemma lets everyone have some before she takes extra. She knows it's polite to share.
I Can Listen by Maria Nelson. What is listening? Listening is more than just hearing what someone says. Good listeners quietly pay attention to what's being said and think about it. Listening shows respect for the speaker. It takes practice and patience. Listening to learn. Mara wanted to bring a treat to school. Her mom explained each step of baking cupcakes as they worked in the kitchen. Mara listened well so she could learn something new. Jessie's teacher was telling the class about their homework. Jessie wanted to understand something better. When the teacher finished talking, Jessie raised his hand to ask a question. He listened carefully so he would know what to do, sad and happy. Gladys's feelings were hurt. She told Paolo she hadn't been invited to play with the other girls. Paolo was a good listener. He stayed quiet while Gladys spoke to show he cared about what she said. Luke visited his grandparents every Sunday. They liked to tell stories about growing up in Poland. Luke didn't interrupt. He laughed and smiled at the funny parts to show his grandparents he enjoyed the stories. Luke listened well, thinking of others. Before bed, Javier's mom always read a story to him and his sister. When she read one Javier already knew, he stayed quiet. Javier was considerate of his sister, who didn't know the ending. Javier was a good listener. Elaine went to see a movie with her family. She paid attention so she could talk about it afterward. Elaine kept quiet so those around her could have a good time too. Elaine used good listening skills. May and Ravi didn't agree. May told Ravi what she thought and then let him talk. They took time to think before replying to what the other said. Listening well helped Ravi and May communicate better, showing listening skills. Todd was in trouble. He forgot to clean his room. While his dad talked to him, Todd made eye contact. He nodded when he understood something and answered his dad's questions. This showed that Todd was listening. I'm Allergic to Milk by Maria Nelson. Got milk? Milk is a healthy addition to any meal, but some people can't eat or drink anything that has milk in it. They're allergic to milk. This means their body reacts badly to it. Most allergic reactions to milk happen because the body has made antibodies against milk proteins. Antibodies are special parts of the blood. They fight germs and other matter the body thinks is an intruder. What's a reaction like? Allergic reactions can happen within a couple minutes or a few hours of taking in milk or milk products. Common allergic reactions to milk include hives and swelling around the mouth and eyes. Milk allergies can cause you to have a tummy ache or throw up. Some people have trouble breathing and swallowing. If their throat closes up, they might pass out. Bad allergic reactions often need a doctor's attention. A shot of a drug called epinephrine can help. People with milk allergies sometimes carry their own shot, just in case. Don't eat that. If you're allergic to milk, the best thing to do is avoid milk and milk products. That means you can't eat butter, ice cream, yogurt, or cheese. When you have a milk allergy, you have to read food labels to make sure your food isn't made with milk. One word to look for is casein. Casein is a milk protein that's often in a lot of products, even gum. Good news! Milk allergies are one of the most common in children. Luckily, many outgrow it by age 8. Most have outgrown the allergy by the time they're a teenager. Lactose intolerance. Some people's bodies can't break down a sugar called lactose found in milk. They're lactose intolerant. They may feel sick when they take in milk, but it's not the same as being allergic. I Can Volunteer by Maria Nelson. What is volunteering? A volunteer is a person who works without pay. Volunteering often means helping those in need. Sometimes people who want to volunteer join a group. Others start a group or volunteer on their own. Neighborhood helpers. Dimitri's neighborhood had many older people living in it. When it snowed, he volunteered to shovel their driveways. He also spread special salt to melt the ice on the sidewalks. Dimitri helped those who needed it. Paolo thought the park near his house was a mess. He asked his friends and neighbors to help him clean it up. The volunteers worked together to pick up trash, plant new trees, and put in new swings. School volunteers. Alania's little sister worried about missing her bus after school. Other kids worried too. Alania and a teacher organized a group of older students to walk younger students to their buses so they got there on time each day. Rebecca was great at math. Her teacher asked her to volunteer as a tutor. She helped other students with their math homework after school. Like Rebecca, volunteers often use their strengths to help others. Communities in need. The community center near Jaime's house was collecting clothes for those in need. They also joined a group of volunteers who sorted the clothes. Dorothy was so excited to volunteer at the animal shelter. She loved to feed the kittens and walk the dogs. Dorothy even got to brush the horses. It's fun to volunteer doing something you enjoy. Ed and his school chorus volunteered to sing at his grandma's nursing home. They picked songs everyone would know. His grandma and her friends enjoyed the singing. Ed visited with them after he sang, too. Trinity learned about her town's past while doing a school project. After it was done, she still wanted to know more. Trinity asked the History Museum if she could help there. Many community organizations look for interested volunteers. Measuring the Weather by Mark Brodfrier. What is weather? The weather is what is happening in the air. Weather is how hot or cold it is. It's wind, rain, and snow, too. Knowing the weather can help us stay healthy. We need to know what to wear outside. Knowing the weather can keep us safe. We need to know about dangerous storms. Scientists have found ways to measure the weather and make predictions about it. Let's look at some of the tools they use. Measuring temperature. We need the sun's rays each day to stay warm. The sun's rays heat everything on and around Earth, including the air. When Earth receives a lot of the sun's power, the air temperature is often high. When Earth receives less of the sun's power, the air temperature is often lower. People measure temperature with tools called thermometers. Measuring rain. Did you know that there's water in the air? Tiny drops of water are all around us. Water in the air rises, cools, and forms clouds. When drops of water in the clouds become heavy, they fall as rain. A rain gauge is a narrow pipe that measures how much rain falls. Some gauges also measure how fast rain falls. Weather scientists use radar to measure rain too. Radar uses sounds that bounce off raindrops. Measuring wind. The sun's rays warm Earth and cause wind. Some parts of Earth are heated more than other parts. Warm air rises and cooler air moves in to take its place. This process causes light and strong winds. Winds can bring clouds or blow them away. Wind direction is measured with a wind vane. Wind speed and direction are measured with an anemometer. Saving lives. Have you ever watched the weather report on TV? Weather scientists use maps, computers, and other special tools to make weather predictions. They predict dangerous storms, such as hurricanes, that can hurt people and buildings. They can help people prepare for travel. Weather scientists are not always right, but their weather predictions often help save lives.
Field Day by Cindy Deanna. Playing games. It's field day at my school. We get to play outside all day. There are a lot of fun sports and games for us to play. I can't wait to play with my friends. It's my favorite day of the year. Kickball. We play kickball first. Our class breaks up into different groups. The red team has 12 kids. The blue team has 11. My teacher makes 2 kids be the referees. Which group has the most kids? The red team has the most kids. There are boys and girls in every group. Which group has the most boys? The red team has 5 boys. The blue team has 8 boys. There's 1 boy referee. The blue team has the most boys. Which group has the most girls? The red team has 7 girls. The blue team has 3 girls. There's 1 girl referee. The red team has the most girls because 7 is greater than both 3 and 1. Water balloon toss. Next, we do a water balloon toss. It's really fun. There are 10 green water balloons and 7 purple water balloons. There are 5 pink water balloons too. There are fewer pink balloons than other colors. We have 22 water balloons. There are 13 big balloons and 9 small balloons. What do we have more of, big or small? Since 13 is greater than 9, we have more big water balloons. Running a race. Next, we run a race. Who runs the fastest? Kyle runs the race in 38 seconds. Alyssa runs the race in 41 seconds. I run the race in 45 seconds. Kyle runs fastest because 38 seconds is less than 41 seconds. It's less than 45 seconds too. Ring toss. My friends and I do a ring toss. Whoever gets the most rings around the cone wins. Carson gets 2 rings. Molly gets 4 rings. I get 6 rings. I win the ring toss because 6 is greater than 4. It's also greater than 2. Healthy snacks. Exercising makes us very hungry. There are 3 kinds of fruit for us to eat. There are 10 bananas, 10 oranges, and 10 apples. Each group has 10 fruits in it. That means the groups are equal. Lots of fun. Field day was a lot of fun. I'm tired from exercising so much. Does your school have a field day? What's your favorite thing to do?
Earwax and Boogers by Melvin Hightower. What is that? The body can be gross. Even if you stay healthy and wash your hands, you still need to make sure to clean yourself up sometimes. Do you have stuff coming out of your ears or nose? If so, we need to talk about earwax and boogers. They're to help. You probably know that boogers come from your nose. Earwax, of course, comes from your ears. These sticky things might be gross, but they play an important part in your body. Earwax and boogers are supposed to be there. The waxy canal. The scientific name for earwax is cerumen. It's a waxy, sticky matter made in the ear canal. The ear canal goes from the part of the ear you can see to the eardrum. Cerumen is made in glands in the skin of the ear canal. Use that wax. Earwax does many things for the body. It keeps the skin inside the ears from getting irritated by water. It also keeps the skin inside the ears from getting dry. Earwax keeps the ears safe from dust, microorganisms, and other matter too. But it hurts. Most times, earwax is pushed out of the ear and falls out on its own. But sometimes the ear makes too much earwax. It gets dry and hard. This can hurt and cause other problems. Then earwax needs to be removed by a doctor. Up your nose. Unlike earwax, boogers aren't produced by your body directly. They start out as sticky matter called mucus. Mucus is made in the nose, mouth, throat, and lungs to keep them wet. You might have another name for mucus. Snot. A lot of snot. The body makes about 1 quart, 1 liter of mucus each day. Mucus catches things you breathe in that shouldn't reach your lungs. It even has matter in it to kill the bad things it traps. Drying out. Tiny hairs called cilia also catch matter in the nose. Things like dust, germs, pollen, and dirt get stuck there when you breathe. Mucus then covers this matter to keep it there. As you breathe, the mucus dries out and boogers form. Don't pick. Boogers are a sign your nose is working properly, but boogers need to be removed from your nose. Blow your nose into a tissue, though. You could hurt your nose if you pick it with your fingers. Where does the bath water go? By Daisy Allen. Water in our homes. People who have running water in their homes use it for many things. They drink it, cook with it, and wash with it. Have you ever wondered what happens to this water when it goes down the drain? Let's find out. Moving water. Water moves down the drain because of gravity. Sometimes people need water to move up. Then they use tools called pumps to bring water into their homes. There are many kinds of pumps. Well water. In the country, some people have wells. A well is a hole in the ground that's deep enough to reach water. People once used a pail and rope to bring well water up. Today, most people pump well water into their homes. Stored water. In towns and cities where many people live, water is stored in lakes and water towers. Some places store water in man-made lakes called reservoirs. The water is pumped into homes and businesses. What's a septic system? In some places, wastewater leaves a home and enters an underground tank. This is called a septic tank. There, bacteria break down the waste in the water. Then the water flows out of the pipes into an area of soil and rocks called a drain field. What's a sewer system? In some places, wastewater leaves homes and enters a sewer system. The drains in a home all lead to the same pipe. The pipes from all the homes on a street empty into a larger pipe called a sewer main. Water treatment. Sewer water flows through the sewer main to a treatment plant. There, the wastewater goes through several steps to clean it. Solid waste is separated from the wastewater. Bacteria and chemicals are used to clean the wastewater. After treatment. The water from treatment plants isn't clean enough to use in homes. Most of it is mixed into large bodies of water to make it safe again. However, some is used to water crops, parks, and golf courses. Keep our water safe. Everyone needs water to live. We need to help conserve water and keep it clean and safe. Never dump harmful chemicals into public water supplies. Save water by collecting rainwater for your plants instead of using tap water.
Where does the recycling go? By Jerry Shea. What is recycling? More than half the garbage gathered in the United States ends up in landfills. We can cut the garbage in landfills by recycling. Recycling means sending some kinds of garbage to places where they can be prepared to be used again. What can we recycle? Recyclable garbage includes paper, metal, glass, and plastic. These things must be sorted before they can be processed. Sometimes people sort their recyclable garbage before putting it out. Sometimes it's sorted after it's taken away. To the recycling center. Garbage workers pick up recyclable garbage and put it on a truck. The truck takes it to a recycling center. At the center, workers sort the garbage into the different groups. What happens next depends on the kind of garbage. Paper. Paper is shredded and mixed with water. The mix is cleaned to remove things like plastic and glue. Then it's sprayed onto a flat surface and heated. As it dries, it forms new paper. The new paper is rolled up. Metal. Most metals are recycled the same way. Aluminum cans are crushed and shredded. Then they're melted in a furnace. The liquid is poured into molds. After it hardens, it's rolled flat. New cans are made from the recycled aluminum. Glass. At a glass recycling center, glass is sorted into clear, green, and brown groups. The glass is cleaned and crushed. It's melted in a furnace and shaped into new bottles and jars. Sometimes bottles are cleaned and reused without melting them. Plastic. Plastics are sorted by type and shredded. The plastic is cleaned to remove things like paper and glue and then dried. Next, it's melted and shaped into tiny balls called nurdles. Nurdles are melted and formed into new plastic goods. Special garbage. Some things can't be taken to a regular recycling center. Old tires and batteries are very bad for the environment. They need to go to special recycling centers. TVs and computers must go to special recycling centers too. Why should we recycle? Recycling helps the environment. Plastic and glass don't break down like food does. They stay in landfills for thousands of years. Recycling also saves resources and keeps the environment cleaner by using less energy. A Trip to the White House by Raz J. The Mouse family took a trip to Washington, D.C. They wanted to see the White House. "It's so big," said Maria. "Who lives in the White House?" asked Marty. "The president lives here," said Mom. "His family lives here too." "Let's go see the house," said Maria. The Mouse family met their guide at the door. "My name is Nan," said the guide. "I will show you around the White House." Nan took the Mouse family inside. "There are more than 100 rooms in the house," said Nan. "That's a lot of rooms," said Maria. "What is this room?" asked Marty. "This is the Oval Office," said Nan. "The president works in this room." Nan took them outside. She showed them a garden. "Wow," said Mom. "It's the Rose Garden." "It's so pretty," said Maria. They went into the dining room. "It's so big," said Marty. "Our dining room is small." "Some rooms are named for colors," said Nan. "This is the red room." "It's very red," said Maria. They went into another room. "This must be the blue room," said Marty. "Right," said Nan. "The president talks to people here." "There he is." Nan took them into another room. "The president meets with his helpers in this room," said Nan. "He must have lots of helpers," said Marty. "You are right," said Nan. They saw a woman in the hall. "That is the president's wife," said Nan. "She lives here too. She is called the First Lady." A dog walked down the hall. "This is the president's dog," said Nan. "Is it fun to live here?" asked Marty. "Oh, yes," said the dog. "There are a lot of places to play." They saw some children. "The president's children live here," said Nan. "They play here too." "That must be fun," said Maria. "There is even a pool," said Nan. "The children can swim here." "Cool," said Marty. "The White House was great," said Marty. "Thanks, Nan," said Maria. "We learned a lot." "Come visit again," said Nan.
Airplane Jane by Aaron Saviola. I am Airplane Jane. I love to fly through the air. I see so many things when I fly. I could not fly very far when I was a young airplane. I flew to small towns. I could not carry many people. Then I got older. I got bigger, too. I flew to big cities. I could carry more people, too. Now I am all grown up. I am a big airplane. I fly to places that are far away. I can carry lots of people. My job is fun. I take people to sandy beaches. They like to swim in the water. They look up and wave at me. I take people to tall mountains. They like to climb the mountains. They look up and wave at me. I take people to big cities. There are tall buildings and big parks. The people like to walk and play. They look up and wave at me. I take people to cold, snowy places. They like to play and make snowmen. They look up and wave at me. I fly through the clouds. Sometimes the clouds are fluffy and white. They smile at me. "Hello, Airplane Jane," they say. "It's a beautiful day." Sometimes the clouds are dark and stormy. They are not very happy. "It's going to rain, Airplane Jane," they say. Sometimes I fly with my bird friends. They are always so happy. They like to sing songs for me. "I love that song," I say. Sometimes I see my other airplane friends. They are many colors and sizes. "Hello, Airplane Jane," they say. "See you soon," I say. Sometimes I fly over a rainbow. It has many colors. The colors are so pretty. People take pictures from my windows. Sometimes I fly toward the sunset. I see yellow and pink clouds. I see orange and red clouds, too. There are so many colors in the sky. Sometimes I fly through the starry sky. I see a big full moon. "Good night, Airplane Jane," says the moon. "Good night, moon," I say. "I will see you again another night."
Outdoors with Max and Kate. Mick Manning. Max and Kate make a snowman. Max and Kate are playing in the snow. They have made a huge snowman. What should he wear? Wonders Kate. Max runs indoors and brings out his daddy's old hat, scarf, and coat. Daddy's going to get a real surprise when he gets home, chuckles Max. Yes, imagine meeting yourself as a snowman, says Kate. Max and Kate wait indoors for Max's daddy. Suddenly their snowman opens the door and shouts, "Boo!" It's just Max's daddy acting silly, wearing Snowman's hat, scarf, and coat. It's Max and Kate who get the surprise. Max and Kate look for bunnies. Poppy and Floppy's cage door is open. They have escaped. Where can they be? We'd better track them, says Kate. Bunny Prince lead Max and Kate through the bushes. Quietly they follow the prince along the path and behind the shed. But then the Bunny Prince double back. Poppy and Floppy are safe in their warm hutch. Look, they came home all by themselves, laughs Max. Max and Kate find a frog. Max and Kate spot a frog. Poor Froggy looks lost, says Kate. Kate's mommy lets the frog hop onto Max's hat. Maybe it is a frog prince, says Max, carrying it carefully. And just look at all the princesses, says Kate's mommy as they let it go. You can be my frog prince, says Kate. Ribbit, croaks Max. Max and Kate go pumpkin picking. Max and Kate are picking pumpkins. Kate wants a small one. Max wants the biggest he can find. "You can help us look, Charlie," says Kate. "I'll take this one," says Kate. "It's so cute." "And it's got a lucky ladybug sitting on it," says Max. Max finds a big fat pumpkin. "Yay!" grins Kate. "Yours has a chirpy cricket on top." "Where's Charlie?" says Max. "He's probably looking for a teeny tiny pumpkin, just his size," says Kate. "Let's go show him ours." Down the path is the biggest pumpkin they've ever seen. It's a giant. "Mine," says Charlie with a huge grin. Playtime with Max and Kate. Mick Manning. Max and Kate play soccer. Max and Kate are playing soccer. Charlie wants to play too. Oops! Charlie picks up the soccer ball and runs into the goal. "Here, Charlie, I'll show you how to play," says Kate. She kicks the ball like a pro, and Max claps. Now it's Max's turn. The ball sails over everyone's head and into the pond. Kate hoots with laughter. "Max, the ducks don't want to play soccer with us." Max and Kate play Hungry Coyote. Max and Kate are playing a game called Hungry Coyote. Cowboy Max is sleeping by his campfire, guarding his cheese crackers. Kate is the Hungry Coyote. She must creep across the room and steal a cracker without making a sound. If Cowboy Max wakes up, then Coyote Kate has to start all over again. Max listens for the smallest sound. Kate moves silently, just like a real coyote. Suddenly, crunch! Kate munches a cracker loudly. "Well, Cowboy," she chuckles, "it's your turn to be Coyote now." Max and Kate play with ice. Max and Kate are playing outside with Mo, Kiwi, and Kate's dolls. She finds a plastic tray and fills it with water. "What's that for?" asks Max. "You'll see," grins Kate. They leave the tray and go inside for some hot chocolate. Later, Max sees that the water in the tray has frozen solid. "Don't worry," he says. "The ice will melt soon." "No, I want it like that," chuckles Kate. "It's an ice skating rink for my dolls." Max laughs too and zooms a doll over the ice. Max and Kate's magic act. Come one, come all. It's Maxie and Katie, the world's greatest, most magical team. Max pulls Mo out of a top hat. "Abracadabra and presto!" he shouts. The audience cheers. Next, Kate juggles 2 oranges while balancing Kiwi on her head. "Let's hear it for the amazing Katie," Max says. "Now it's time for milk and cookies, everyone," says Kate's mommy. "Oh no! Where did the cookies go?" asks Max. "Charlie is a magician too," chuckles Kate. "He made the cookies disappear." Adventures with Max and Kate. Mick Manning. Max and Kate go camping. Kate and her cousin Joey come over to see Max's new tent. "Let's camp out tonight," says Max. Max asks his daddy if they can have a nightlight for the tent. "Don't be a scaredy cat, Max," says Joey. In the tent they hear a scratching noise. "It's only Max's bunnies," says Kate. "It sounds spooky. I want to go inside now," whispers Joey. Wait for us, shout Max and Kate. Sorry I called you a scaredy cat, Max, says Joey. It's all right, says Max, with a smile. We can have our campout inside. Max and Kate take a bike ride. Max, Kate, and Charlie are taking a bike ride. I hope we see some animals, says Kate as they ride by the trees. A baby squirrel runs across the path. Hey, watch out, little squirrel, calls Max, slowing down. Let's take a break, says Max's mommy, taking juice and granola bars out of Charlie's trailer. After their snack, Max and Kate play ball. Suddenly, Charlie shouts a new word. Squiggle! Squiggle? Asks Kate. Charlie shows them the baby squirrel. Remember to look both ways before you cross the street, little squiggle, says Max with a laugh. Max and Kate and the wobbly bridge. Look at the rushing river, Kate, shouts Max. It's so noisy. As Kate crosses the bridge, it wobbles gently with every step. Wow, this is so cool, she shouts. This bridge looks scary, says Max. It's wobbly but safe, says his daddy. Let's just take our time. Holding on tight to his stuffed animal Mo and his daddy's hand, Max crosses safely. I feel like wobbly jelly now, laughs Max. A peanut butter sandwich will help, chuckles Kate. Max and Kate go on a picnic. Max and Kate are taking Mo and Kiwi on a picnic in the woods. They spread their blanket under a big tree. Max opens the basket. We've got apple pie, he says. Look, says Kate, pointing at the sandy hill. Ants! Maybe they want some pie too. Kate puts a slice of apple pie on a stone. Enjoy your picnic, little ants, she says. Max and Kate each have some delicious pie. As they munch, they watch the ants hard at work, carrying crumbs to their forest home. No, I won't. Written by Manika K. Musel. My name's Carl. I have a brother, a sister, and a mommy who can be so annoying. Brush your teeth. We already have, except for Carl. Mine are the whitest. I don't want to brush my teeth. Whenever Mommy makes lunch, we have to eat every last bite. I don't like soup. Just give it all to me. I don't want to eat. Whenever we play, we all have to clean up. Let's make some more mess. Where are we off to? Where's my zebra? In the evening, right when we're having lots of fun, Mommy usually says, "Get to bed. It's late." No, I still want to play. We can sleep tomorrow. I'm not even tired. One day, I decided not to listen anymore. Why do we have to listen to our parents? Because they are both so smart, so that we can get what we want. Mommy asked me to help my sister with her homework. No, I won't, I said. This homework is really tough. When I was in first grade, I knew the answers to everything. When a rhinoceros came to visit, Mommy said, "Say hello, Carl." I don't want to, I yelled. What misbehaved children! And yours always listen to you? Grrr! I sulked and moaned, and whenever I heard my name, I said, I don't want to. I'm never going to listen again. After a while, I started to feel guilty. Great big tears came streaming out of my eyes. Being alone is so boring. Mommy was calm and said, Come here, let's make dinner together. Where's my plate? I want my plate. That one's mine. After dinner, we fell asleep. I was very tired. Where's Mommy? I want a story. I can tell you one. I don't want a girl's story. The next day, Mommy said, What a beautiful day. Why don't we get a little trip? No, I won't, I said. It just slipped out. We all love to take trips. Everyone laughed. Where are we going? You'll see. It's a surprise. Did you make a snack for us? I don't want to go on any trip. Mama's Song, Basma El Khatiri, illustrated by Saba Kala. My name is Semer. People say that I'm autistic, but I'm a child just like any other. I feel happy and sad, just like all other children. True, I'm often silent. I avoid loud voices. I feel my way by touching objects. It's true that I want things to happen again and again, and I like to learn new things through pictures. They often say that I'm not like other children, but Mama always tells me that I'm an exceptional child. My Mama's name is Selma, and she's my best friend. Every morning I wake up with her voice singing, Semer, Semer, my wonderful child, it's time to wake up. Semer, Semer, my wonderful child, it's time to wake up. How soft my Mama's voice is. While singing, Mama shows me a picture of a child waking up. So when I see the picture, I wake up. Then she sings in her beautiful voice. Come on, time to go to the bathroom. Come on, time to go to the bathroom. Then she shows me a picture of the shampoo bottle and says, Come on, Semer, give me the shampoo, the shampoo. I give Mama the bottle of shampoo. She takes it and then takes my hand singing, Great Semer, I love you, I love you. Then she shows me the picture of the soap, then the sponge, then the towel until I finish my bath. Semer is now clean, Semer is now clean. How beautiful he smells, how beautiful he smells. Now I feel clean and ready to go. But I'm hungry, and I hear Mama singing, Breakfast time, come on, my brave child. We sit around the table. Mama doesn't put much food on my plate until I ask for more and point to the kind of food I like. This is her way of encouraging me to speak. Do you like potatoes? Do you like potatoes? Asks Mama while pointing at the potatoes. I like potatoes. I like potatoes. My name is Semer and I'm a silent child. True, I avoid loud voices. I feel my way by touching objects. It's true that I want things to happen again and again. And I like to learn new things through pictures. People often say that I'm not like other children, but Mama always tells me that I'm an exceptional child. Falful's Trunk, Amal Nasser, illustrated by Rania Abdul Mati. Falful was not convinced that his trunk was good for anything. Whenever his family and friends called him to join them in their favorite game, which was spraying each other with water, he objected. "I don't like to spray water. I don't like peanuts. I don't like what all elephants are supposed to do," Falful said. One day, while sitting under a savannah tree, Falful heard a voice calling him. "Falful! Hey, Falful!" He turned right. He turned left, but he didn't see anybody. He looked down. He looked up. "Ah, it's the hoopoe with a flock of many different kinds of birds." "Falful, we need to borrow your trunk," said the hoopoe. "What? I can't lend you my trunk," replied Falful. "But you don't need it. You don't use it. But we do need it, really badly. There is a wildfire in the village." Falful thought for a while. "If you need my trunk, it means that my trunk is useful, right?" So after filling his trunk with water, he happily rushed toward the village to help the people put out the wildfire. Houses were in flames, and the fire was about to spread to the wheat fields. After putting out the fire, Falful looked sadly at the gloomy and fading colors of the houses. Then an idea crossed his mind. He called all his friends, and they all agreed to help with his plan. It made him so happy to dip his trunk into all the colors and paint the walls and windows of the houses of the village. When Falful and his friends had finished, they looked at their work and were thrilled. The village had come alive again, with bright and beautiful colors that made all the children smile. After a hard but fulfilling day, Falful sat down under the starry sky. He was content. He started thinking about all the things he could do with his trunk. He began to dream. "I will plant a tree and water it every day. I will be a swing for the kids who don't have any toys. I will—" What about you? What would you do if you had a trunk like Falful's?
Lily's Treasure Map by Christina Lambert. A treasure hunt. Lily wants to find a treasure. A treasure is a kind of prize. Treasures are often hidden in special places. Lily has a treasure map. Her grandma gave it to her. It shows her where the treasure is. Lily starts her treasure hunt at her house. Who helps Lily find the treasure? Her grandpa helps her. He helps her read the map. On Lily's street. Lily and her grandpa walk down her street. She lives on Elm Street. Lily sees her neighbor Alex. Oak Street. What street should Lily and her grandpa go on next? The map says they should go on Oak Street. They make a left turn onto Oak Street. What building do Lily and her grandpa pass on Oak Street? They pass school. It's a big school. North Street. Lily and her grandpa make a right turn after they go by Lily's school. They turn onto North Street. Who lives on North Street? Lily's Aunt Sarah lives on North Street. Lily sees Aunt Sarah's dog. His name is Max. Center Street. What does Lily see at the end of North Street? She sees Center Street. Which way should Lily and her grandpa turn onto Center Street? They should turn left. What store is on Center Street? The toy store is on Center Street. Lily and her grandpa go into the store. What do Lily and her grandpa buy at the toy store? They buy a shovel. They're going to use it to dig for the treasure. Sunset Street. Where should Lily and her grandpa go next? They should make a right turn onto Sunset Street. At the beach. The beach is at the end of Sunset Street. Lily sees the sand and the water. Lily and her grandpa walk toward the treasure. They walk in the sand, digging for treasure. Lily sees her grandma at the beach. She tells Lily where her treasure is hidden. Then Lily digs for it with her new shovel. What is Lily's treasure? It's new toys to play with at the beach. Lily had fun looking for her treasure. What kind of treasure would you like to find? Surprise Party: Shapes and Their Attributes by Aaron Earl. Lee's birthday. My friends and I are having a surprise party for my best friend Lee. It's his birthday. He's 7 years old today. My friends are coming to my house to make decorations for the party. Making decorations. We cut lots of shapes out of paper for our decorations. We cut out triangles in many different colors. Triangles are closed shapes with 3 sides and 3 corners. The number of sides and corners makes them triangles. Their color doesn't matter. Birthday cards. Next, we make cards for Lee. The cards are rectangles. Rectangles are closed shapes with 4 equal corners. They have 2 long sides and 2 short sides. These things make them rectangles. The cards we make are all different sizes and colors. Some of the rectangles are big and some of them are small. It doesn't matter what size or color a rectangle is. It's still a rectangle. What's a cube? My friends bring lots of gifts to the party. The gifts come in boxes shaped like cubes. Cubes are solid shapes with 6 equal faces or sides. Cubes of all different colors and sizes are still cubes. Paper plates. I get paper plates for the party. The plates are circles. Circles are closed shapes with no corners or sides. These things make them circles. Which of these shapes aren't circles? Birthday signs and hats. My friends and I make square signs that say, "Happy birthday, Lee." Squares are closed shapes with 4 equal sides and 4 equal corners. They can be different colors and sizes, but their 4 equal sides and corners make them squares. We also make party hats in many different sizes and colors. These hats are cones. A cone has a round bottom and a point at the top. These things make it a cone. Can you make a cone out of paper? Surprise! When Lee comes to my house, he's so surprised to see all his friends. We all eat pizza together. What shape are the pieces of pizza? Does it matter if they're not the same size? Lee had lots of fun at his surprise party. He loved the cards and decorations we made for him. I liked throwing a party for my best friend. I learned a lot about shapes today, too.
Pablo's Paper Crafts by Jeffrey Joyce. Circles and Rectangles. Pablo loves making arts and crafts. He makes circles and rectangles out of paper. Sometimes Pablo divides these shapes into smaller parts. He uses scissors to cut out the shapes, splitting them up. Pablo can split his circles and rectangles into 2 and 4 equal shares. Dividing a shape into 2 equal parts makes halves. Dividing it into 4 equal parts makes fourths. A fourth can also be called a quarter. Halves of a circle. Pablo makes a circle first. A circle is round and has no sides. He wants to divide his circle in half. Drawing a line down the center makes 2 halves. What does a half of a circle look like? It has a flat side and a big curve. Pablo puts his circle back together with tape. He takes the 2 halves and lines them up. Together they make 1 circle. This Pablo that a circle can be made of 2 halves. Fourths of a circle. Pablo makes another circle. This time he divides it into fourths. Pablo makes fourths by drawing 2 lines. What does a fourth of a circle look like? It has 2 flat sides and a curve. Now Pablo has 4 quarters. He uses them to build a circle. He tapes 2/4 together. It looks like a half of a circle. Then he tapes the other 2/4 together. When he puts these parts together, Pablo sees that a circle is made of 4 equal quarters, halves of a rectangle. Next, Pablo makes a rectangle. A rectangle has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. How does he divide it into halves? He draws a line down the middle. Half of this rectangle looks like a square. Pablo has 2 halves of the rectangle. Can he use them to put the rectangle back together? Yes, he can. He puts them together with tape. Now Pablo knows a rectangle can be made of 2 halves, fourths of a rectangle. Pablo makes another rectangle. This time he divides it into fourths. He draws a line down the rectangle. He draws another line across it. Now he has fourths, or 4 equal parts. Pablo uses tape to put the 4 quarters back together. They make a whole rectangle. Pablo's paper crafts show him how easy it is to break shapes into smaller parts.